All right, we're starting. Welcome to the North American Squad League. We are here into the playoffs and moving more and more forward into this. Tonight we have some big games here. We're going to be starting off in the quarterfinals of the lower bracket with Deuce Knights going up against Vec Fantasy Maine, and then finishing off the night with the semifinals, a best of 5, one of the most anticipated games of this season, possibly this year, possibly some foreshadowing on what we could see in the qualifiers. Ackerman up against the Valley. Private, are you hyped for this?
I have never been more excited. I didn't think that we were going to get to see the Valley changes here, but we did get a little taste of it last night. And I have been saying the same thing about both of those teams. How are they gonna do when they are challenged? And that's just what's going to happen here tonight. But not to take anything away from our first series, it's going to be Vec Fantasy Maine taking on Deuce Knights. Both of these teams have a very special place in my heart. Deuce Knights, as my first time coming and casting, I was kind of entranced with them. Easy Peasy has a great amount of skill, and his leadership on this team has been just a forefront of their success. But on the other side, the underdogs of Vec Fantasy Maine, subsetting 2 of their members right now, and have included Nicolette and the best player onto that, and have had some upsets that they've actually been able to accomplish in the NASL. So it's anybody's game tonight, but I mean, tonight, Saturday, it's gonna be
Saturday. It's definitely like, I think this is just a very VFM. First of all, I don't think a lot of us, even us casters, I don't think expected them to make it this far. At least I didn't personally. They got the win up against the Simpsons in the upper bracket, have gotten knocked down now, but Deuce Knights are also not slouches, man. They're able to compete. They have their iffy moments, but from the middle of this year to now, they have grown tremendously as a team. Easy Peasy has been able to strut his stuff with some of those assassin picks in the jungle, those picks that we know and love to see him play. Hopefully we get to see something like that tonight. Definitely excited on how this game is going to turn out. If you guys are new here, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you really want to show some support, hit that share button and let us know in the chat who you think is going to take this game, how you think it's going to play out. Now, Private, if you had to pick a side, who do you give it to?
The viewers, honestly. I'm tired of picking sides. I'm tired of having my heart broken. I want good matches, and I know that's going to happen. It's going to be the 2 of the most exciting matches tonight. Honestly, like I said, I love both of these teams. I became a fan of Nicolette, Jules Cutie, best player, Rose, Fleur. It's just, I'm such a fan of all of these players. With just a short amount of time that I've been casting here in NA, there's just those people that stick out and those teams that continue to stick out, and I love watching them grow. And tonight we're going to see how far that has gone so far, because unfortunately one of these teams in the next series is going to be going home after this.
Exactly. Whoever loses is going to have to pack their bags and walk out of the tournament lobby because they will not be able to compete. Now, there are a few things, I guess, while we have a second to clear up. We know I've been seeing in the chat constantly for the past couple of weeks. Just to let you guys know, this is not the M4 qualifiers. If you guys are new here, if you're just new to the NA scene in general, this isn't the M4 qualifiers. That will be coming soon. We are a independent league. I created this league. A lot of other casters, a lot of other community members have gotten involved since season 1. Private Dancer, G the Okayo has helped with production, Private's helped with data, helped with building other casters. I mean, it has really turned in from a one-man to a whole grassroots movement. It is a league that the NA community has supported and grown by ourselves. We are sponsored by Moonton with the diamonds, with 50,000 diamonds in the prize pool, but other than that, we have come up with the money ourselves. We have gotten small sponsorships through side companies and things of that nature. We are a completely independent league, separate from the NACT. A lot of us casters do get involved in the NACT, but I just want to let you guys know we are not one and the same. So hopefully that clears up some of those questions. These teams are ready to go, though, Private. and I am ready as well. Now, we know VFM want to bring that early game aggression, right? They've said it a lot of times. You got Nicolette, you got best player. Is that going to be the thing that helps them win this game?
It depends, because it's not just about early game for Deuce Knights. Deuce Knights begin to shine when Easy Peasy gets a pick that he's comfortable on. So I think the biggest course of action is to make Easy Peasy as uncomfortable through this match as possible. And it's not an easy thing to do. We've seen him in picks that seem forced, especially with that Ling. Like he'll pull that Ling out where a Ling does not really shine and still be able to come out on top, even when he's being invaded and stuff like that. So that's why I say, like, he's kind of the heart and the core of the team, in that he still remains very level-headed throughout the game, has a battle plan, and he can drive his team to kind of stick to that no matter how the early game kind of develops there. So we're going to see, because like you said, they on the side of VFM, Nicolette, best player, Jules Cutie, they do like that early game. I'm just not sure if that's going to be enough to kind of push past Deuce Knights.
Yeah, now, one thing you got to point out, because I feel a little special right now. I said it in the beginning of this playoffs. Beatrix was going to start getting banned as we move closer to the finals, and VFM taking her off. And my guess is best player maybe wanting to pick up the Ballman, maybe wanting to pick up a solid jungler as their first choice, or a solid tank, something of that nature, right? And if you go for that as the first pick, you know you got to give up 2 picks to the second, and they don't want those 2 picks to be a Beatrix and an Esmeralda, or a Beatrix and something like that. So let's get this Beatrix out of the way, leave them to ban out the Fermis, the Valentina, which right now have not been banned, but also gives them a little bit more opportunity and not to just get dominated in the gold lane here.
Yeah, we have that trio of Doom there, the Faramis, the Valentina, and the Julian that usually round out the end of these bans. And I mean, in NA right now, Julian doesn't have the hottest streak. I mean, we've seen him kind of shine in the jungling position. When you put him in mid or XP lane, his win rate goes down there. And even as a jungler, he's not that great here in NA yet. And maybe just the right teams aren't picking him. So it just depends here, because as we've seen, and with the new rules that we've implemented where the loser can pick what they want, we've seen a lot of teams favoring those second 2 picks, because you get to answer what you see in the first pick, which usually rounds about to about an Esmeralda on the other side.
And they go for the Wan first here. So Wan up, basic, I mean not basic, the side of, because I saw that TV from Rose, the side of Deuce Knights, Easy Peasy is going to pick up this Julian, and though Julian hasn't performed amazingly, I will say Easy Peasy, this is something that I think he can do well on, right? He's not being forced into a slower jungle, a less aggressive jungler like the tank meta currently. It's something that maybe he can get flashy, put on some early aggression in the early stages. So I think this does fit him just a little bit, right? Wondering what they're going to line up behind that. Rose bringing in the Natalia.
And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Roam Natalia too. We haven't seen it. We've seen the kind of the sparks of her getting banned, just that ability of her to be able to store more than one hunt has made her so lethal, especially overseas where we're starting to see her banned a lot more often. It does take a little bit of finesse to use her, because once the enemy team, you get out of that laning phase when they're all starting to group together, Natalia has a little bit of a harder time finding those kills. But up until that point, you have the options of really slowing down the jungler of those the farming of those mages, of those marksmen with pickoffs there. So a very nice pickup by the side of Deuce Knights. I really am excited to see how it goes here. But Nicolette answering with that Selena there, which is going to give them a lot of vision to kind of counter the Natalia.
And I will say that Nicolette has played pretty decently on the Selena in the playoffs. They have lost some games with it, but still it can be a threat. The side of Deuce Knights, though, answering back to that answering back the Paquito with the Phoveus. Not only that, works on the Wan as as well. A lot of, we debated the Wanwan versus the Phoveus last time, and I think us casters came to the conclusion that we like it. Some people disagree, but I like the Phoveus into the Wanwan, and we're going to see how well it plans out in this game here. Second bans coming in private.
Yeah, I'm really excited. First of all, how this first draft went off, because it basically 2 picks and then counter, and then an answered with a counter, and then answered with another counter. So I really like how this is going on. But what's going to be the difference is how well you can't just counter the enemy. You also have to make sure that these compositions complement each other, and that you're able to get the sets that you want to kind of open up those team fights. We do see that the Claude's getting taken out there. They're really VFM really trying to isolate out these marksmen from the side of Deuce Knights. And then the tankier answer, interestingly enough, they take out the Uranus and the Esmeralda here, not wanting them to have either on the side of VFM.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and you get rid of some of that EXP lane. Some of those things, like the Esmeralda, is a problem for the Phoveus, right? The Uranus can be a problem, not as bad, but the Esmeralda is like super counter to the Phoveus, could really bully him in that EXP lane. So at this point, they've kind of secured Phoveus to actually get a bit stronger and really possibly put pressure in the mid to late game against this Wanwan. Because if he falls behind too early, it could be a problem. He may not be able to output the damage onto the Paquito, output the damage onto the Wanwan. Now, a lot of marksmen do get taken out. They pick up the Aerithal anyways, thinking that it's a solid counter to the Wanwan. What's your opinion, Private?
Yeah, it's interesting because I keep hearing Irithyll is a counter to Wanwan. Irithyll is a counter to Wanwan. I have yet to see it utilized in a way that made me think, I should be picking Irithyll into Wanwan. Just, I feel like sometimes her range can be an issue. She can, with her ability to kind of keep on targeting, it is a little easier to kind of guide around some of those weakness stacks that Wanwan has. I just have not seen it in NA yet that really made me want to kind of support that. But we're going to see how it plays out here, because Irithyll, I feel like would want a little bit of a wall in front of her, maybe some type of tankiness from the side of Deuce Knights here. But we're going to see how well that kind of goes out as we get the picks of Yuzong and Lilia. Lilia, we do know, like, with all that slow and burst damage she has. Yuzong, though, he's fallen out of the meta because he's a little squishy when he dives in.
Yeah, the Yuzong definitely hasn't been the most popular pick, and when it does get picked, it hasn't always done well. Now, I'm not completely counting it out, but the thing is, I mean, I guess with the Esmeralda and the Uranus gone, you don't have a whole lot of other options, right? So they pick it up to maybe just kind of stalemate this Phoveus, but they do lock in the Lilia. The Lilia with the Paquito behind it and this Selena on Nicolette could cause a lot of early game pressure. Some nice possible invades, some trying to put as much onto easy peasy on this Julian as possible, maybe try to steal some buffs, get those nice tower dives in the off lanes. Just a lot of possibilities, but the omnipotent threat in all of this, the big wild card in all of this, is going to be Rose on the Valentina, because Lilia, Selena, they're going to be prime targets for Rose on this Valentina, Natalia. Even in those on this Natalia in these first 4 levels.
Yeah, honestly, I'm actually a little I'm lucking out here doing play-by-play, because these fights, I'm going to tell you right now, are going to be fast. There's nothing but engagement and burst. There's no real sets, no real sustain on these teams. It's all or nothing for a lot of these fights. Either you land that Abyssal Arrow, either you're able to land the smoke screen and the hunts from Natalia and capitalize on it, or you're going to have to disengage. There's, like, these fights are going to be quick, and I, for one, am excited. Game 1, Beck Fantasy main taking on Deuce Knights in our lower bracket.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how this plans out. And like I said, the wild card is going to be Rose on this Natalia. Nicolette, though, already putting pressure onto them, already getting vision across the map, knowing we know you're playing, Rose. Like, we know what you want to do, but that doesn't mean Rose isn't going to try to do it here.
Yeah, we do see a little bit of engagement. There's Rose actually probably going to be getting taken out here. Oh, able to zigzag, but no, it is going to be too late, as that damage from Nicolette and that Selena is going to be enough to take him out. And Nicolette going to go ahead and trade her life for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we already have a 1-for-1, as you said, possibly leading into a very fast-paced game. Last night, we had a couple slow games, couple almost snoozers, but still great games. But this time, we're already seeing some big action. A minute in, 2 deaths on the board, and watch Alex. He's not even going down to his red buff side. He's immediately just trying to put pressure in, and this is what we knew VFM was going to bring, and they are trying to put as much presence onto the enemy side of Deuce Knights into their jungle as possible, keeping Rose from even trying to put her own presence into theirs.
Yeah, and just look at Nicolette back and forth from mid to top and all throughout the jungle. This is what I like about some of these compositions. If you don't have a set, you have to have that movement there. We do have Juice Cody in a little bit of trouble, might be getting taken out here. Does, and now that is a good 1 for 2. 2 for 2? Spoke too soon. These guys are just matching each other with the aggression that they have, and I feel like this is going to be like a very even match for both.
Yeah, and with the turtle up now, this could be where we start to see how well the clashes do. We've had a couple picks in the side lanes. We've had both sides losing someone from the opposite team, but now with this 4v4, things may get a little spicy.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Rose is going to actually have an opening here right now. Juice Cutie does get popped up in the hands chain there. Black Dragon is out, and now we have that demonic force coming out onto Nicolette. In trouble, does get taken out by Rose there. Great patience, and that does zone out the rest of VFM. Juice Cutie does get taken out as well by this Phobius and that demonic force, and a great set to enable this first turtle take.
Yeah, there go. This is the Phobius, right? And with that, he's already 1-0-2, already starting to be a problem. I was talking about mid to late game, but we're already seeing him make plays happen. Alex already has to be careful about how he's going to engage in these fights, and if he gets brought too low, Phobius is going to be on him. So as we can see, this is something that the side of VFM is going to have to play around, and Deuce Knights were ready for this game.
Yeah, and unfortunately kind of got caught in a bad place there, and this is kind of the problem with Yuzong, especially early game. On the top, he might have, oh no, 1-1 is able to get away. Best player doing his best to put on the damage to Cloud, putting on the weakest stack, isn't able to get the back one, but gets taken out by Claude there. Rose in trouble of his own does get shown, and they go ahead and answer that kill with one of their own. Does Vec Fantasy main. Boy,
oh boy, 8 kills right now. The side of Deuce Knights, though, is up a little bit in this gold. Watch out for Fleur, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Missile Arrow lands and Fleur, thankfully with that umbrella, able to get out of harm's way with Kagura.
Yeah, very close there, very close cop. But the pressure from both teams, even with Vec Fantasy taking a couple deaths there, losing the turtle, Nicolette, best player 1 in this mid side, still want to keep it up because they know that is their option to win. But easy peasy, sitting at 2-0 right now, taking a look at the items, he has gotten a little bit, I mean, not a lot, honestly. Alex is keeping up even with that death. I mean, no, Alex hasn't died, but even with almost taking that death and having to go back to base, he's been able to keep up with the gold and match easy peasy in his jungle strife.
Oh, we do have an Abyssal Arrow that does land. Rose in a little bit of trouble, does have to disengage here, but still Cloud able to cover the escape, and the hands chain does pop up. Best player in a bad way there. And I was just going to say, too, that, oh, Nicolette lands an Abyssal Arrow onto a teleporting floor. Not much coming out of that, but just more a little, hey, I see you there.
Most definitely. Now, one thing we really got to talk about, the bottom lane, where not much is happening. I will say that Jules Cutie has gotten the stalemate, right? Which is important. But the problem is Jules Cutie has taken 2 deaths so far. He hasn't lost his tower, but with those 2 deaths, he is definitely very far behind Hikaru. So now with another turtle up, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, and here's the unfortunate thing with this Hikaru picking this Phobius. You saw the entire team had to back off. Just Phobius standing there, his mere presence means that Selena can't go in, means that Paquito can't go in, and they have to kind of give way for these turtles, because if they do, a demonic force is going to start crashing down on top of them.
Most definitely. Now, I will say, wait a second, Alex is on her. Oh my god! Walks right into the arrow and is an invisible. I mean, Nicolette, the timing on that.
And another Abyssal Arrow does get landed on Fleur, able to disengage with that umbrella, but Nicolette is on fire with these Abyssal Arrows.
Yeah, and this, like I said, like even even though it's not like her usual pick, we don't want to see it. She's been playing wonderfully. Even when they're a little bit behind, Nicolette makes the plays happen with those Abyssal Arrows, and at any moment could help change the tide of this game, Private.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing. We do have a crossbow tank coming down, is able to take down Claude on that Aerithel. Rose in a little bit of trouble here, does get taken out, and underneath the tower too, so this is going to open up the tower maybe a little bit, because we have a 3v1 onto Fleur. I'm not sure if Kagura's going to be enough to, we do have an Abyssal Arrow that does go wide, coming in with the yin-yang overturn, but does get taken out by Alex on the back line, so this is going to be a tower for the side of VFM.
And I feel like at that point she knows she's going down, so at least she takes out Wan. She's able to trade her life for something, and they know they're going to lose the tower. So yes, it's a win for VFM there, but at least Fleur did have the calm of mind to be able to take someone down with herself, which is nice play. Down in the bottom lane, though, Deuce Knights take a tower for themselves. They're also going to be able to take this red buff. So both teams, even though they're not clashing like face to face, the mid laners aren't, they're finding places on the map to make up for it, playing their own games.
We do have an Abyssal Arrow that doesn't land on Hikaru, but he is using that demonic force right now without remorse. He is getting a lot of damage putting onto him. We do have a pop-up, but it does not connect. Jules Cutie does get taken out. Up at the top, we are still trying to put some damage. Nicolette is in a little bit of trouble as Rose is latched on. Nicolette does disengage there. Rose and Fleur are going to have to back up, but they've done their job and zoned out the rest of the team for this turtle tank. I don't think they know about Alex, though.
Yeah, he was hiding there, definitely trying to take something, but he doesn't want to do it alone. He's smart enough to back off, let them take this turtle. It's another objective going to the side of Deuce Knights. The gold lead continues to raise as Rose picks up that kill on Alex.
And this is just the force in which they are able to kind of come together here, and that's why Yuzong is having such trouble here when you get those kills on there. Able to take the turtle and then come up to the top tower to take a kill onto Alex on that Paquito as well.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to be a problem. I mean, honestly, though, with the fact that VFM is at a bit of a gold deficit here, they are still taking some of these fights. They're still playing decently objective-based. It could be much, much worse for them. The fact that Alex, like that small play of backing off from the turtle, things like that, yes, he still ends up getting caught off there, but just those small things are what are keeping VFM in this game. A nice arrow, though.
Ooh. Yeah, arrow does connect, and Fleur actually might be in trouble. Does use that flicker. Black Dragon is out. It does collect the kill onto Fleur. We are pressing onto this tower now. Best player goes down at the hands of Rose, but Jules Cutie gets taken out as well. Demonic Force onto Nicolette, able to get the kill. Another one onto Alex. He is trying his best to dash away, leading Hikaru into the tower, and he might be in a little bit of trouble here. He still wants to fight this. Hikaru does not mind. Another dash. Rose able to come in with that Natalia to get the kill. Might not be able to get away here, though. Nice little sidestep there, though. Is able to find an escape.
This is now it's starting to look bad for VFM. Taking a look. Let's take a look back at these items. Easy peasy. Has finally taken a nice lead over Alex, over the jungler of VFM. He's locked in the magic wand. He's locked in that spell vamp. The man is at 3-0-2 right now, and the damage is only going to continue to scale. Yes, Hikaru has made some of those big plays, made some of the tide turning moments in these fights, but Easy Peasy is always there, ready to pick off. And add that on top with the Natalia, it is just hard for Nicolette, hard for Best Player, hard for Best Player 1 to really stand a chance against this fast-paced composition, high damage composition that Deuce Knights have brought.
Yeah, and they're starting on this Lord. Abyssal Arrow does come out, but the entire team knows it's coming. Hikaru down at the bottom trying to help with the zone out here. Abyssal Arrow does connect now onto Kagura, but it does not help. Here comes the demonic force. Hikaru is going in deep. Here comes Jules Cutie trying to put on the damage as Easy Peasy comes in. Abyssal Arrow lands onto Hikaru, and right now Alex does take out Fleur. More demonic forces coming in as the Black Dragon able to assist with the kill onto Easy Peasy, and look at the speed. Hikaru trying to get out of dodge now. Nicolette gets taken down on the mid and does get taken out herself as well. It is a 2-for-3 trade, even though they have a non
Oh.
Coming towards their base, and Cloud gets taken out as well, but not before they're able to get the kill onto Alex. So there's only one person for one, and this is what I was talking about on the side of when it comes to these kills, how fast these fights were going to be.
Yeah, Deuce Knights, I think at that point you get the Lord. They needed to slow it down just a pace. Once they took that Lord, they just kept on hammering home, and I get it. You want to try to clean this up. You felt like you had the moment. You got a little trigger happy. You've been stomping previously, but now you've lost that Lord push a bit. Yes, they do take a tower in the mid. They've gotten VFM down to their inhibitors, and they've done a wonderful job so far, but if they keep acting like that, it could spell danger. They need to slow it down, keep the Goldie that they have, and just pick away at VFM at this point.
Well, and especially, we do have another engagement here. Alex is getting pushed away from his buff here. But it was a great plan by the side of VFM as they lured that demonic force from Hikaru into this nice little tight corridor. So they kind of lured him back, kited him back as he kept on pressing with that demonic force. The rest of the team was forced to follow. And what do you have coming in that little corridor? Abyssal arrows as the rest of the team follows. And that was able to give them a little bit more of an even fight on that last team fight after the word.
So at this point, VFM needing to, again, all Nicolette has to do is maybe hit one of those big arrows, get a nice set with Jules Cutie. Even Jules Cutie, he's kind of had some rough moments, but he has made some decent plays, able to kind of save down in that bottom lane in that big last Lord push. So I wouldn't count VFM out yet. Normally, when that gold lead gets to where it's at right now, which is about 5K, right? 4.5K, you're in the danger zone. But if VFM can keep it at this, keep it not getting any farther, they do still have a chance in these team fights. And because they have some poke potential, they have the Wan, they have Nicolette with these arrows, they don't have to fully commit to every single fight, right? They can just kind of poke away, try to get picks, and hold themselves out till best player 2 gets to the point where maybe he can carry this game.
Yeah, and another amazing thing, Nicolette right here, there's always 3 traps on the board. Always making sure, and Rose has gotten caught twice trying to come into one of these bushes, and just doing such a great job. Floor does get caught with his Abyssal arrow, but you do see that enhanced chains coming out there from Easy Peasy to try to protect. Now we are on the Lord. We are jockeying for position. The Lord is getting pulled out. The rest of the VFM is not falling for the bait, but they are putting some pressure onto this mid lane. We might have a fight coming out here. Here comes Jules Cutie with that black dragon in, and demonic force now into the backline. Best player might be in a little bit of trouble. Does have that crossbow of Tang, but up at the top, best player gets taken out. Hikaru chasing down best player 2. I'm confused of which one it is, but it does look like Jules Cutie and Nicolette are going to have to disengage from this fight, and this is going to be a luminous Lord for the side of Deuce Knights.
Hikaru is just a major problem, and there's just no real answer to him right now. Exile Rose does go down there, but still, is that enough? Another Lord, this time Deuce Knights 4 against 2. The rest of the members of VFM should be back on the map before this Lord connects to their base, but Deuce Knights are going to stay on the aggressive, and like they said, there's just no answer to Hikaru. Best player 2 got the crossbow of Tang off, and still just wasn't able to bring anyone down with it. At this point, Deuce Knights may be able to roll in with this Lord.
Yeah, I love the drafting of this, especially picking the Phoveus into the Wan, into the Paquito. But that brings up the bigger question though of Jules Cutie picking this the Yuzong into it, because you already know you're getting countered by 2 people. Hikaru is just having one of the best times here, activating that demonic force.
Yeah, now with the Lord coming private, the question on everybody's mind, will Deuce Knights end the game here?
Well, they do have the pressure up at the top, but now minions starting to come at mid, so they might change over. We are putting some damage on the using Wan gets taken out very quickly there. Top turret goes down and is down to the mid turret. We are knocking on the door of VFM. We do see Jules Cutie gets taken out there, popped up by Easy Peasy. Now we have minions at the core. Alex doing his best. He is getting clashed onto.
Karu?
Easy Peasy goes down. This is the defense that they're looking for. They will not go quietly into the night. They are now on chase. We do have a latch on Hikaru. Demonic force is on him. 4 goes down. Hikaru might
1v3.
be more than he can be. More than he can. He's activated that sprint yet he is getting out of dodge right now as all of these minions are crashing into the core.
You know, and we're all questioning sprint on the Phoveus. Don't you always use the flame shot? And I mean, he's done a great job even without the flame shot. And there's just so much dashing on the side of VFM that honestly, he never really needed the flame shot. And the sprint right there, that's where it mattered. That's where it came important. The foresight to know that maybe I'm going to get a bit too deep. But now VFM is answering back, taking a tower out. So they've lost all their inhibitors. But once again, they're still knowing that they need to keep it aggressive and play like the game is tied.
Yeah, I mean, they're not quite tied yet, but on the side of Deuce Knights, they definitely need to play like they are behind, because if that last defense by the side of Vec Fantasy Main proves anything, it's that these guys are not out of the fight yet. I mean, they had all the towers down, and all it took was just a cascade of kills coming at them. They just repositioned in a great way, and especially with the demonic force, they're able to kind of like they baited it out early, which allowed them to get the tower down, and then they didn't have the demonic force for some of the fights as they were kind of on top of core. So we're gonna see how this ends up as we have one more second left.
Watch Rose
comes up. Yeah, we're seeing them right now.
Watch Rose.
Lobbing out abyssal arrows is Nicolette. Hikaru does check a push right now. We do see trying to zone out the rest of the team by himself. Here comes the demonic force now. They are on it, and
Rose.
the Lord has been reset. Fifth player gets taken down. Rose might be in trouble. Best player goes down. That's 2 players for Rose right now. 1 for 2 trade in favor. 1 for 3 trade right now. They are in trouble. Vec Fantasy Main needs to get out of dodge. Alex doing the best he can, but Hikaru at the base, the slowest base race I've ever seen. He's trying to
This is it. This is it.
onto the core. He doesn't care who's on
Minions.
right now. The minions are on it, and this is gonna be GG for Deuce Knights.
What a wonderful game at that. Deuce Knights are hungry. They want to make it to the playoffs. They want to make it to the grand finals from this lower bracket. And they're showing that just because they took a loss, they can pick up the pieces, put a great draft together, and take a game.
Yeah, amazing game played by both, especially I want to talk about Nicolette doing a great job trying to support this team with that roam, but just not enough. They were out drafted, and honestly, for VFM to do as well as they did for being out drafted, hats off to them. But man, Hikaru, we were already talking about it. We knew who was going to be the MVP here right from the first turtle fight of the game. Hikaru already had his 4, had that demonic force, and it was a wrap for VFM. I don't think there's a player on there that wasn't in trouble there. Maybe Lilia until she used her black boots, but man, and even then I think you can even wait, because you can't even utilize Lilia the way you want to, because what you want to do is kind of go out, bait out all the abilities, and then use your black boots to come on back to the safety of your team. But when you do that, now you're going to have a Hikaru on that Phoveus landing on top of your team.
Most definitely. I mean, the moment with that first turtle engage, the moment Hikaru was able to just about get the pickup on Alex, and get the pickup on, I think, Nicolette it was, I can't remember exactly, but the fact is, the moment, I mean, literally like 2.5 minutes into the game, putting out so much pressure, we knew there was going to be some major problems with this Phoveus. I mean, everyone had a feeling that the Phoveus was going to be a huge counter, but I did not think it was going to be like that, to that extent. They could never do anything about him. 0 deaths on Hikaru, a beautiful, well-deserved MVP, but the whole team, right now, even Cloud on the Airthil, takes a death in the early game, 1v1 to best player, but able to keep on towards that late game, was just outputting decent damage, able to kite well, and be important to these team fights.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, because like this, the draft kind of felt a little, I don't want to say rushed, but it felt like they were just kind of winging it. No disrespect to either teams, they have such a large pool and a large understanding of the characters that they're able to do that. Like both of these compositions were basically just trying to counter the other one until Phoveus came out, and then it's like, oh. we may have picked ourselves into a corner here, and I wonder if that's going to be on their minds as we go into this next draft as well. Great game by both guys there, but of course Deuce Knights there, just a very powerful composition there, and that Phoveus, I mean, absolutely dominating from beginning to end.
Yeah, I will say that Deuce Knights, like seeing those games by them gives you hope that like we still got to keep our eyes on them. We can't count them out. If they win this, they go up against the Simpsons, and if they can win that, they go up against the loser of the next series, which will be the Valley versus Ackerman. So Deuce Knights definitely holding strong, and they are they always surprise me. Honestly, every time I see them play in a new tournament, it seems like they're just growing a little bit more, picking up some more things, adding some more things to their pool, their hero pool, adding some more strategies, and always keeping it fresh. VFM needing to do something here if they want to continue on in this league. Can they do that, Private?
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I mean, in that last game, even though they were behind, we saw during the second turtle fight that VFM wanted to go in, couldn't because of the Phoveus.
Your team
but that was the last time that happened, and that's kind of how different and how rounded VFM are when it comes to decisions like that, because they saw the first time they weren't able to make anything happen because of the Phoveus. That was the last time that they let a turtle go free. They engaged every other time, because this time they're like, all right, we can't do that anymore. We need to force it. And so I think they're going to have a plan here. They're not going to make a mistake like that of getting the Won without having a plan for the Phoveus here. But like, I mean, that was just such a great read by the side of Deuce Knights there. And we've already said, like, I mean, I'm used to seeing them from behind, but to see them get that's one thing you don't want to do for the side of Deuce Knights, is give them a good draft, because honestly, like, they just have that underdog spirit in the first place. You let them get ahead in the beginning and it's kind of a wrap.
Most definitely. Now VFM is learning from its mistakes a bit, banning out that Julian. They don't want to go against it. They don't want to let it fall into the hands of Easy Peasy, following up with the Fanny ban from the side of Deuce Knights and the Faramis ban. Now I think VFM are going to try to approach this game a little bit differently. Since they lost the last one, they've opted to go first pick once again. So maybe change things up a bit. They really honed down onto that Won last time. I think this time maybe focus a bit more on the jungler. The Paquito is good. It worked against some other teams, but I think you need to bring something a bit more. Maybe the Balmond, maybe the Akai, something just a bit more controlling.
Well, honestly, I don't even think that those were bad picks. The Paquito, like I said, it's just the Phoveus. There's too many bad Phoviuses out there that Phoveus has a bad name for himself right now. It's just when you see that was how he's supposed to be used. That's how aggressive you're supposed to be on him, with a little bit of a follow-up from your team. And that's where he was supposed to be. But now with these bans and that early ban, and I think this was part of their plan, they do get that Beatrix, does VFM.
They do get the Beatrix. Easy peasy, though, looking like he's going to pick up the Balmond in response. Now, we know the Beatrix has just been game-changing for so many teams, right? It's been, I mean, we've seen backdoors, we've seen bases knocked down and 3 shotgun hits. A lot of people are saying she needs a nerf. So can this be the hero that gets VFM in there? Now, there's still some open things. The Esmeralda has been taken. I think they need to lock in an EXP laner to deal with Hikaru, because even though Hikaru had counters to everyone, he still is a prominent EXP laner. And if they slack again on picking up the counter quickly, we already know Deuce Knights is going to ban out the Dairoth, ban out the Thamus, ban out the Uranus, or something along those lines.
Yeah, and that's the interesting here, but I know VFM, you can see right now, is taking their time, not so quick to the punch this time, want to make sure that the counters they have will fit for the team, won't get countered by something else, dancing around, but we do end up picking up a Glow. It's interesting too, because or a Glow, we pick up like an Akai. Glow, they were dancing around Glow, but they aren't going to be picking him, they're going to go ahead and pick up that Akai. And then Nicolette, I believe now, is going to be going on to the Mage position, which is, I mean, I like that, because I feel, man, Nicolette's just a Swiss Army knife of roles that she can play. But
Another team needs to pick her up,
mage.
man. I'm really hoping that Nicolette gets picked up by some team before the qualifiers or even next year. I'm really hoping that Nicolette falls into a spot somewhere, but we're not going to talk about that. Alex has now picked up the Akai. So VFM, I'm liking the draft right now. You have this you have the Akai jungle. It kind of speaks for itself. You have Nicolette on this Lilia. Again, a nice aggressive mage, something that Nicolette thrives on. And then instead of going for the 1-on-1, you've picked up the Beatrix, who is, I mean, again, speaks for itself. Now we're jumping into these second bans.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we didn't see Monwan. She wasn't as successful last game, well, because of the Phobias as well. But where we have seen her, especially yesterday, when we saw Ackerman pick her up, when we saw other teams try to use her in a great way, is that because they use their entire comp to kind of feed into those weakness stacks, to feed into that ultimate, the crossbow of Tang for them. That would be the CC, the slow, the suppression by Franco, things like that. Here we kind of have her out there really banking on Cloud's ability to kind of find those weakness stacks without too much CC on their side right now.
Most definitely. And that's the problem, right? Like the 1-1, it has it has a little bit of trouble getting those weakness stacks sometimes. And if you don't have like the CC to really hold them still, it becomes a real issue. And for her to try to jump in here and dance around those gloom sets from Nicolette on this, like dance around, be getting slowed, taking burst damage, have the threat of a shotgun in your face from this Beatrix, let alone the heavy spin from the Akai. Yes, she can get out of some CC, but for how long? Rose, though, knowing that's the answer, knowing that they need some CC, picks up the Lolita.
Yeah, and I like the Lolita, especially because I like sets, and it looks like we're both going in. We completely transition from the balls to the wall, everybody charge in and get your kills in, to let's and then we're going to capitalize off of that. You have that Numenum blast from Rose on this Lolita, followed probably up by the falling star moon from Hikaru on this Esmeralda there, and hopefully enough time to give Cloud the CC he needs to be able to get around and get those weakness stacks. And I guess we're supposed to be confused as to who's going to be jungling.
Three jungle emblems. The new meta is here. I mean, 3 retries. The new meta has arrived, Private. Definitely excited for it. Maybe it's a little bit of argument. No, I'm jungling. No, I'm jungling. Best player, though, best player 1, should I say, is going to be picking up the Petrify, bringing that Benedetta into the EXP lane. Now, we've seen the Benedetta actually do pretty decent. We've seen the Benedetta not do too bad overall.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's a very situational thing sometimes, because you don't always have the damage for the tankier compositions, especially here. Like, the only person that you have right now that you're really kind of going to be going for is potentially Wanwan, because everybody else is either too tanky or has an escape, and even Wanwan kind of has an escape to get away from Benedetta. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they can play this into Deuce Knight's comp.
Most definitely. Now, let's see exactly how this goes. Definitely excited for it. If VFM loses this, we are going to run. That is it. They're out, right? There's no moving on. They need to take this game. They need to bring it to a best of 3 to try to move on into the playoffs.
Yeah, so this is go time for Vec Fantasy main here. This is going to be game 2. Are we going to be going to a game 3 that is going to be on Vec Fantasy main if they can get past what was such a strong offense from the side of Deuce Knights here?
Yeah, and it's definitely not going to be easy, right? Deuce Knights playing a very solid game last time. I'm thinking this time they're going to keep up the same exact thing. And now, with Easy Peasy on this Ballmond, we know there's going to be a bit of pressure, right? But Jules Cutie does have the Akai, Nicolette on this Lilia, and Alex on this Paquito. I mean, we're looking at 2 teams that like to bring it, and it's all going to come down to who folds in these first couple engagements, right?
Yeah, and we do see a little bit of engagement here as Rose is coming in to try to support their take of this Litho Wanderer, but we have 4 members of VFM. I like that, honestly. They're going all out just for something as simple as the Litho Wanderer, making sure that they have every advantage going into this first hurdle.
Most definitely. Now, in the bottom lane, I think this is going to be something we need to watch out for. And Jules Cutie already rotating down here, knowing, I mean, as always, the gold lane is extremely important. This time we have 2 strong gold laners in. Nothing a little bit crazy, a little bit of an engage possibly.
Yeah, Rose does try to come in here, and a great spot by the side of Deuce Knights with their rotations, not really even giving Jules Cutie too much time to set up in that bush as they come and rotate to come and check up on their marksman. And we do know, I mean, for most of these games, gold lanes win games.
Gold lanes definitely win games. Now, Alex going to take this gold crab, and it seems like the side of VFM are really kind of keeping it tight. The 3 mid laners are running as a unit. Alex trying to pick something up here.
Yeah, we do see them coming in onto Rose, but it's not another Nicolette taking a
just
saunter
walks
behind the tower there. It's like, oh, this isn't the bathroom. As she squeaks by, and they are now going to be setting up for this first turtle.
Wait a second, we're on the other side of the map. My bad, guys. This isn't my tower. Now Turtle is up, and with the Akai, VFM may be able to get a possible advantage on this. The problem is that lethal counter. Jules Cutie doesn't have level 4 yet, so he's not going to be able to keep Easy Peasy away from this turtle.
Yeah, and that's the problem here, is that he does have the pop-up for that spin. Hikaru actually in a little bit of trouble, is going to go ahead and activate that sprint there. We see Black Boots coming out as well. Turtle is down to half health. 4 members of VFM coming down, and Easy Peasy able to get it with that lethal counter and combination of that and the retribution. So great pickup by Easy Peasy there.
Yeah, this has been something that Deuce Knights have been doing since last game to now. Easy Peasy, pretty known for having a decent retry game, and stack that on top of the lethal counter. It is going to be hard for the side of VFM to really take anything. Now, hopefully in future objectives, Jules Cutie will have this heavy spin like I was saying, and may be able to help with Alex. Not only that, but Alex has the push with that ultimate, right? With that knockout strike, he has the opportunity to keep some people away, poke at some people, and that's going to be what they need to take these objectives.
Yeah, and it's interestingly enough, they have 2 pop-ups, which should mean it's going to be a bad day for Easy Peasy, but he's just so mechanically gifted and good on his spacing here. Like right now, best player actually in a little bit of trouble, does get slowed down with that retribution, but on the answer, Hikaru is slowing him down too right now. Best player is able to get away. There's the benefit of that Benedetta, but now down here at the bottom, Rose and Cloud a little bit of trouble, are going to get dove into Cloud, a little bit of trouble, does get taken down. Newman on blast is not able to save him, but he is able to pick up the kill onto Alex. That is 4 members of VFM coming here. They are here in force, and I like, they did lose somebody, but I like the show of force. Every single time an engagement happens, it is very organized. They come with 4 people to make sure that they secure it and that there is not a chance of somebody getting away there.
Yeah, and in my eyes, it's a nice trade for actually no, it's almost, I would say in the early stage right now, it's a good trade for Deuce Knights, slowing down Alex, but this is going to give best player the advantage in that gold lane, and that's something you don't want, right? You don't want this Beatrix to just be able to scale freely and get ahead of Cloud.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the upset happens here. Oh, we do have 4 members coming back. Rose sees it. He's going to try to get away. Cloud in a little bit of trouble, does get taken down again. This is going to be the first tower going over to VFM, as they are just, their Rose actually might be in a little bit of trouble here too as well. They are not done.
Heavy spin.
With his own heavy spin there. Rose gets taken down as well. Are they going to be able to get 2 towers out of this?
Possibly. Even if the canyon goes down, they may be able to do it. Another wave coming. That should be it. Now, what a wonderful trade for that turtle. It's like, fine, Easy Peasy, go take the turtle, because we're going to crush your gold lane right here. Like a game of chess, they made a great play, and they now have Deuce Knights on the backside, even having a slight gold lead at the 5.5 minute mark. Easy Peasy, not going to be able to do anything against best player here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nicolette there with those bombs, able to slow down easy peasy. We are at the 5:30-minute mark here, and we can see right now, especially when it comes to the gold lane, BOD already picked up by Beatrix here. So you're going to have tons of damage, whether it's going to be the sniper shot or that shotgun coming out. So that is another thing that the side of Deuce Knights is going to have to be watching out for here.
Yeah, and taking 2 towers in that gold lane, it just gives it gives this Beatrix so much an advantage. It gives the whole team so much of an advantage because Cloud is going to have to keep on going down. But wait a second, Falling Starman does come in private.
Yeah, and it is a 4v3 now. Zeal's Cutie might be in a little bit of trouble. Easy peasy coming in, getting slowed down by these bombs, and they are going to be able to disengage here. Tides have kind of turned here a bit. I love how much they're able to kind of stand off a lot of these fights. Easy peasy is going to have to use that dash as Rose coming in there to kind of try to support this defense. We do have a Nunon Blast coming down with a flicker, is able to catch a Kai. Alex goes down as well, and that is 2 down for the side of VFM.
Yeah, just when it starts to look like VFM has a bit of an advantage there, Deuce Knights answer back with some wonderful plays in the mid lane, turning the gold lead now back to their side. And while this is happening, Cloud able to even answer down in this gold lane and even out the field, giving Cloud a bit of advantage. Best player in a lot of trouble here. Will go down.
That's a wrap for bottom. So able, like I said, and this is the problem with Deuce Knights. We got so used to last game where they were ahead right from the beginning. Oh, Nicolette, a nice dive in there by Rose, but not able to get anything from the rest of the team. But like I said, they're used to being behind, and this is where they're comfortable at. So, I mean, just because you have them down doesn't mean that they're out yet.
Yeah, now the turtle, though, is being picked at private, and I don't think VFM does anything about it once again. Jules Cutie, though, with the heavy spin.
Yeah, heavy spin coming in, pushing them into the tower. Best player does take down Rose, so this is a 4v5 as Alex is coming in to join this fight. Sniper shot does go wide of Cloud right now. I don't really think they're going to be able to make anything happen as we do see the disengage. Hikaru are going to go ahead and push this side lane.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're looking. I was gonna say almost even, but I will say that VFM has a few more towers here. I mean, actually, no. Gold in the side of Deuce Knights. Towers in the side of VFM. At this point, it could definitely go anyway. It is feeling a little bit even. Oh my god. The damage from Easy Peasy right now onto Nicolette, onto Best Player 2 is just dangerous. And Deuce Knights know it. They know when they have an advantage, not what time they have it. And they know that's when they need to start striking. They know that's when they need to start pushing the advantage and taking fights.
Yeah, we do see the activation of that camouflage there. Best player is going to try to be able to get out of this situation. Not sure if he's going to be able to on that Benedetta. And mid tower, in the meantime, getting picked up by VFM, doing such a great job on this macro, are they?
And not only that, but Benedetta was able to get away. Wait!
Ooh, here comes the Numenon Blast, able to take down Best Player 2. Jules Cutie's on the run for his life there, the 3v4, and a lot of damage going on to Hikaru as they now have minions, but I'm not sure if this is a fight that they want. Getting a pop-up onto Rose here. Minions clashing in. Here comes Easy Peasy with that lethal counter, but it does cost him his life. Meanwhile, Hikaru gonna go down. Oh no, Hikaru able to get out of the way there. So, I mean, they just expended a life there trying to dive into mid, and a great defense by VFM.
Yeah, and Alex thinks he has it, right? Alex gets the pick on Easy Peasy. I mean, even from my eyes, it's like, wait a second, does VFM come back in this team fight? But then as the smoke clears, 3 members of VFM are down, or 2 members of VFM are down at the end of the fight. All you get is Easy Peasy. But I will say VFM, they're kind of losing out on some of these team fights, but they're taking towers. I mean, their split push is definitely great right now. We do have a pause coming in from the side of VFM. Let's jump back to the Cash Desk and talk about how the rest of this game could go.
Yeah, I'm so confused right now because the gold is going over to the side of Deuce Knights, but towers macro, which I usually feel like is more important, is is on the side of VFM. So it's kind of an exchange there right now, which means that Deuce Knights is still kind of hanging in there. However, I feel like if we're going for the long distance call here, VFM is in the lead because there's only so many more towers that Deuce Knights have left before they're at your core knocking.
Yeah, but with this turtle now, so like now that with this Lord now that we're getting to the point where Lord is up, right? Now, Deuce Knights, if they can get these objectives, they're going to be able to turn those towers around possibly, but Best Player does come in, easy peasy, takes the Lord.
Yeah, we do see a fight breaking out here now as Rose able to go down, so they are able to answer that Lord with a kill of their own. Best Player goes down, so they have traded 2 for 1 right now, 3 for 1. Jules Cutie goes down, and this is shades of the last game. As these objective fights happen, it seems like VFM starts to fall apart on the disengagement. Look, the shotgun blast don't even phase. Easy as he walks right through it, and his team takes the first mid tower. Now looking to set their sights onto the second mid tower. Easy peasy trying to negate some of that damage. Now is going to turn his sights to the orange buff.
Yeah, and he takes the orange buff. They make sure they grab something on their way to the base. Grab a quick snack. Grab the popcorn. Grab the buff. Because we're knocking on the door. The pizza's here. And we're ready to serve you. Let's see if VFM can survive this push.
Yeah, Lord is crashing down onto the bottom, knocks twice, and down goes the tower. But they are trying their best to latch on here. Here comes the Numenor blast. Beautiful flicker by Rose there, and here comes the falling Star Moon to take down Nicolette. And this is a 5-man pushing squad against 2 left on VFM. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to stop this. Oh, we do see the damage coming down. Another lethal counter now. They are not able to take the tower just yet, as those tricky AoEs from those inhibitor towers, I think, kind of threw them off.
The angle from Rose on that Numenon blast right there. Can we take a second to appreciate that? Lord's coming, flickers around to the back side of the tower and lands on 2 or 3 members, but just completely makes VFM disperse and makes that push so much more epic, so much more worth it.
Yeah, and right now I feel like a lot of these openings are because of Rose right now. A lot of these Numenon blasts really at a great angle without being stopped or answered either. Once it lands down, you're losing about 1 or 2 members, and it really turns the tide for a lot of these fights.
Yeah, easy peasy though, getting... Oh... That was close. That was very, very close. Easy peasy. He still needs to be careful. Best Player is starting to output some decent damage. Yes, the shotgun's not a lot. I think maybe... I'm wondering if she should have picked up the DHS and win a bit more percentage damage instead of the burst. Yes, she can take out Fleur. Yes, she can take out Cloud if she hits it, but she's not doing a whole lot to Easy Peasy. She's not doing a whole lot to Hikaru or Rose, and that's the thing right now. That's why they just can't get through that front side.
Well, yeah, you saw Easy Peasy rush into a bush that Best Player was, that Alex was in. Okay, now they have another engagement here. They are going to go ahead and disperse here. Lord is up, so neither team really trying to give up space here. We do have, I think Best Player is kind of just taunting here right now. Rose in a little bit of trouble, does get popped up. Here comes the lethal counter to Easy Peasy on to Jules Cutie. We do have that activation of that roam item as the rest of VFM trying to escape right now, but now they are zoning out 4 members onto this Lord. It's down to 10%, and that is another luminous Lord for the side of Deuce Knights. Hikaru in the middle of the fray here right now, and Jules Cutie and Best Player powerless to really stop it as the rest of the team had to teleport home.
Once again, Hikaru is a problem. As I said, he's a pretty prominent EXP laner, and it shows, right? Whatever he picks up, if he can get ahead, he's able to just zone whole teams back. And of course, any EXP laner, this is what they should be doing on the Esmeralda, but Karu makes it look simple, makes it look easy, and it's, just with ease, pushing back the whole team. So as I'm saying, I'm not saying he's better than every other EXP laner out, but he's definitely showing that he can compete with some of the best here. Lord is coming. Will Deuce Knights finish this game?
Yeah, looks like they're going to try to. They do have the flank on the rest of VFM here right now. Down goes the bottom inhibitor. Now the rest of Deuce Knights rushing to the aid of the Lord, who gets taken down quite quickly there. Not sure if they're going to have anything left here for this next push, but we do have minions coming here. Not sure that VFM is going to be able to stop it here. We have the flicker in right now, waiting for that Numenon Flash. Here comes the crossbow of Tang, able to take down best player there, and down goes that next inhibitor. Lethal counter comes down to clear out the minions. Easy peasy, gets taken out there by Alex. Do they have enough damage to take down this core? This could be it, and unfortunately for Duck Fantasy main, Deuce Knights are gonna be moving on.
What a series, a 2-0 sweep. Deuce Knights, we got to keep our eyes out for him. We got to keep our eyes on him, because they just showed everyone that they're ready to play. And look at this. I mean, Hikaru, once again, 0 deaths, completely dominating, but this time Fleur also with 0 deaths, picks up the MVP. And honestly, like, my eyes weren't even on Fleur the whole time, but the damage was definitely there.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of amazing to me, kind of from the shadows there, able to put on the damage. For me, it was paying attention to those sets and easy peasy trying to get in, bait out some abilities. And this is what I've said before, is right now the jungling position isn't really that glorious position it used to be. You have roles that you're filling to try to get those objectives, to try to open it up, to put on some damage, but you're not going to be the one finishing it off. And Fleur did what he was supposed to as that mage. Cloud, I was actually kind of surprised there wasn't more coming from the Wan, but they did spend a lot of the early game a little bit behind. It was only toward the end game that Cloud actually started eking ahead of best player, but I think you called it right with some of that percentage damage. They did take a little bit of a long time to get that Demon Hunter sword. I mean, we saw it there. Easy peasy, walked right into a bush that best player was in, shook off 2 shotgun shots to the face like it was nothing, and best player had to tally ho right on out of there.
Most definitely. Now, at this point, I mean, in that draft right there, like, VFM's draft, I think, was a bit more solid than last time. They didn't have any huge counters on them, and they almost looked, I mean, they were able to take objectives in the early phase, but as I said, once that Lord came back in and they couldn't, like, they were able to take towers, but they weren't ever able to take a turtle. They were able to push in and control macro, but once the Lord came into play and they could never contest it, it was just kind of a counter on the board, waiting as the Lord helped Deuce Knights push more and more in. But so that will be it for VFM. That's, I mean, we're calling it goodbye. Played a great game. Hopefully we see him next time.
Yeah, and not just next time. I mean, we've got a lot of events coming up here in NA as well. But man, Deuce Knights played probably one of the best games I've seen them play since being in the squad league. Not because it wasn't. Most of the games I see, it's because I've said it before, best player carrying, best player kind of rounding up the troops. But I mean, they're really best player. He was, I don't want to say he wasn't doing anything there, but he wasn't the shining star of that team. The rest of the team kind of coming in there, Hikaru coming in, Fleur coming in. In the first game, Cloud was having a great game as well. So like, that's why I say, like, this Deuce Knights right now is so strong, and that was probably one of the best games I've seen from them.
Yeah, I think if they can come in and like keep this type of pacing tomorrow when they play and possibly in the future, they definitely stand a chance to go up against the Simpsons, and then it's going to be the big wall, right? So if they can catch some momentum here with this win, take it in tomorrow, beat the Simpsons, then there could, you know, and just keep that running, keep that rhythm, keep this drafting and this gameplay going. Will they have a chance to beat the loser of the next series, which for those that don't know is going to be the Valley up against Ackerman. Now, we do have a little bit of time until that game comes. It's scheduled for 9 o'clock. We're going to be checking with them, seeing if they're ready. Are you ready for the game, though, Private?
Dude, I am excited. I am ready because I have been waiting. I have been begging for a chance to see these teams up against great teams. Like I said, most of these teams, every single team, every person in the world is great at the game when they're ahead. The Valley has been ahead in most of their games. Ackerman, not so much. I feel like Ackerman has been tested a little bit more than the Valley, and especially now since the Valley has updated their roster now to include Zane, to include Fried Chicken as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how well they work together, especially because there is the experience between the two. Both these teams very experienced with each other. They've been on the same team. They've versed each other hundreds of times in scrims and other tournaments. They are very familiar with each other. So I want to see if these guys, how these game plans are gonna unfold in the next series.
Yeah, these are the teams that people, these are the teams that people are rooting for to go to M4, right? Like both of these teams. And you even have a little bit of a feud here, right? You have Zia, left BTK, Bill joins Area 77, creates what we now know as Ackerman, right? You have Kush also on Ackerman, Yato, Gals. I mean, T in the XP lane, a very strong team, have been dominating their side of the bracket. Valley also, Zane, Chicken, Basic, Hoon, America's dream team, right? Just like BTK was, now the Valley, which is essentially, people are calling it whatever they want, but another dream team. So can Ackerman upset the balance? We did see BTK go down in the last NACT. We've seen some of these brick wall teams lose. We've seen underdogs come back. So tonight, can Ackerman show that they can take on the Valley? Now, we will be back to you guys very shortly, so do what you can. Grab your popcorn, grab some food, use the bathroom, charge your phone, because we'll be back soon to show one of the most anticipated games of the upper bracket. There it is, guys.
That is picture perfect right here.
Middle, Craxy and Hate all alone. Can they defend this? We're going to see the sweep for the final. Ziggy flashes in, able to get the stun. Craxy in the back line, does some nice damage. Immortality comes up from right under the ultimate of Japanese. And now Hate all alone, not able to defend off. New Wave will take this game. Bring down counter just too high. And New Wave takes the champion. Feeling this out, away, nice stun on the shark. Pokey doing a little bit of damage. I feel so alive, it's like I'm down to all the shit on my mind, I feel like I'm in the vibes. I lost touch with reality, that shit killed the vibe. Had me living like I ain't having shit, I'm just getting by. And I'm far from the illest guy, still I grind to keep me on top, no ceiling tiles. Yeah, ain't no cap, this an enterprise. Know you feel the vibe, feeling blessed that I'm still alive. A huge play coming with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive, I'm going all out.
Secured it just barely. Out goes there by Supra. And they secure the kill on the beating. What a save! Secures the kill on him. Do we get a team wipe here? Do we get a team wipe? Wait, there's a butterfly locked on. Gals kicking in the back line. But Sir Bossy will get suppressed and taken out first blood. Going to the side of Area 77. Nicolette keeps on coming in. The Marquez here.
Yeah, I'm feeling so alive, I feel energized. I used to sit inside, let my feelings hide. Everything I despise, no reason given why. Now I thank God I'm alive, not doing prison time. Yeah, now I'm keeping all the bullshit aside to give me mine. Had to cut a lot of homies off, I goes just in the line. And that shit don't affect me, I was feeling fine. Still inspired to chase this fucking dream like the kid inside me.
Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out. Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out.
Now, Yeho coming in, doing a little bit of damage on the shark. But it looks like Team Sexy wants to record a nice quicker kick. Nice knock up. Down goes Molecule to the major damage.
stun. In comes Syndicate. He does use that Petrify, but Ziggy is going to go down. It's another kill there. And do some sort of crazy play. But now he is taking some damage. He does cover it. Goes to the kill. Get the kill. Wait a Flicker away. Ziggy though chasing in. Does have that ultimate way to use it. All the hands are down. There, trying to slow down, trying to push it, taking a bit too much damage. So taking out Zia on the map. Zia taking some damage. In comes that ult.
The openings, they're not able to find those angles out. That's going to get caught with another find.
Big swing down. Nice knock him on. That player may be going down once again. He's going down, able to get the kill. And he does push on the fender upon the Nicolette. Zia with that ultimate trying to make some space. Sharp with the Newman on blast. They are going to get the kill on the 8. Nice counterplay coming from Team Splits. Wait a second. Best player with the Petrify. Sharp trying to do it on blast. Will get stopped in his track. And a nice time offended on the Sharp. They get that tower. Now coming around the side of the Axel there. With the Dark Gold. They want to get the kill on the Nicolette. Coming on the Sharp.
Right now, they're being punished for it because Insomniacs is just out-roaching them.
But still able to get the kill on the best player. 3 members down. Make that forward. Nicolette all alone, but they don't have to stay on. Sharply, no, but again, no one's able to stop this movement on Black. And it crashes down. And gets the spin on the wall. Make that all alone.
rest of this team fight. The disengage will most likely happen.
Welcome to the North American Squad League.
For those of you who are new, this is the first and currently only Mobile Legends League in all of North America.
A place where the top teams from the United States, Canada, and Mexico get to battle it out over the span of 10 weeks.
What are they battling for, you might ask? To start, 3,000 USD, 50,000 diamonds, but most of all, the right to say our team is the best.
It's been an amazing journey these past 2 seasons with teams like Area 77 and New Wave go home with the glory.
But as there will be 6 teams returning from previous seasons,
we do have some new faces coming in as well, and they look hungry.
For those of you loyal viewers who have been sticking with us through the past 2 seasons, we have to say thank you. And for
all of our new viewers, welcome to the show.
I hope you enjoy.
There's nothing that New Wave can really do there. One thing that I liked about this Lord take than the last one when they lost 2 members, best player stayed close to the Lord, right? Hold on, Blaze Duet comes in. Out Fanboy gets away with a sliver and takes out Series.
Right now, and this is something different from what we were seeing from New Wave, is even while they were getting kills on them, they were still able, we do see a Numenor Blast coming out.
Oh, but the reverse time able to get him out of that, but it's not enough. Cold World coming in with the heavy spin. Sakamoto able to get out with just a sliver of health. You can't even see the health.
Do here, because it does open it up a little bit for the side of Deuce Knights, G.
Look at that. They're like, I'm getting that tower. You know, just holding it out there. What we're really seeing...
Engage, and that's what the difference is right here for the Diggy, and that's what happens when you get a Diggy on the back foot. You're not able to really capitalize. Oh, easy peasy, caught in midair.
Why is he walking like, bro? You gotta know what you're up against, man. I mean, you gotta know there's a heavy spin in there. He just dived into a heavy spin, like, I got this. Hold my beer, and just completely annihilated there. Strike does come down to 14. Sakamoto out of the way, but Sage can use that wall. Interrupt Mingu here. Easy peasy with the chains, and Mingu does not touch the ground before she dies. Knocked up from the chains, knocked up from the wild charge, and taken out in the sky. A wonderful mark from the side of Deuce Knights. They want to keep going. Don't let the big stun come in from the side of their strike. Don't let Darwin into our back line. The moment we let that happen, we lose. And as long as Deuce Knights can hold together, easy peasy, buys that one, and Clinching on. Able to get out there, but Thomas finally gets that crossbow tang. He isn't able to succeed, and then Wild Charge comes in, and Darwin gets the pick. Promise goes down. Darwin now taken out as well. Promise on the run, but they are there, and there is no immortality for you. 4 members of the Simpsons go down, and Deuce Knights with a nice defense, but you lose all your inhibitors for that trade.
Oh, Easy Peasy is hungry for it. He wants it. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it.
The World's a fast boy. He should be able to get away, but Easy Peasy continues to chase. Continues to want it. Chain.
And this is going to be another tower that looks like it's going to be going down to the side of Ackerman over here at mid.
Oh my God. And a big ways collapsing in.
Yeah, and that's another Fatal Links that does land, but they are too strong right now. There is not enough that they're going to be able to do. Great play by Zia. He's going to go ahead and dash away from Mosh's damage. Gina Godmode gets taken out, and I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to be able to stop them from this next push. We do see Shen gets taken out, and this is just a dominant.
Where Zia's going to really start outputting the damage, right? And Yato as well. 0 deaths, and that's a big way of the dragon, but I don't know if it's going to be able to do it.
No, see what happened there, the way the dragon went into the wrong mode because he flickered and he still continued with it, which put his whole team in a bad way here. Blah, the team coming in. We do have the crossbow tank coming down. It is not enough to take down Lord T. We do see, does land out the Merciless with the Jikundo. It is able to release him from that bloody hunt there. Does get knocked out of it here. Look at these outplays after outplay right here. I'm in a little bit of trouble here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get out of this with the feathered airs. Oh, just
big
misses. Oh man.
Point blank range.
Bring that boy back to hooker school.
You can't hit them all. Oh.
Cheers. There it is, guys.
That is picture perfect right here.
Middle, Craxy and Hate all alone. Can they defend this push, or are we going to see the sweep for the final? Ziggy flashes in, able to get the stun. Craxy in the back line, does some nice damage. Immortality comes up from right under the ultimate of Japanese, and now Hate all alone, not able to defend off. New Wave will take this game. The down counter is just too high, and New Wave takes the champion. Feeling this out, away, a nice stun on the shark. Pokey doing a little bit of damage, do not want to locked up.
I feel so alive, it's like I'm
go down to Nicolette, May
all this shit on my mind, I feel like I'm in the vibe. I've lost touch with reality, that shit killed the vibe. Had me living like I ain't having shit, I'm just getting by. And I'm far from the illest guy, still I grind to keep me on top, no ceiling tiles. Yeah, ain't no cap, this an enterprise. Know you feel the vibe, feeling blessed that I'm still alive.
A huge play coming
with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out.
Secured it just barely. Out goes there by Supra. And they secure the kill on the Fini. What a save! Secures the kill on him. Do we get a team wipe here? Do we get a team wipe?
Wait, there's a fire lock on Gals coming in the back line, but Sir Bossy will get suppressed and taken out first blood. Going to the side of Area 77, Nicolette keeps on coming in. The Marquis here. Able to get the kill.
Yeah, I'm feeling so alive, I feel energized. I used to sit inside, let my feelings hide. Everything I despise, no reason given why. Now I thank God I'm alive, not doing prison time. Yeah, now I'm keeping all the bullshit aside to give me mine. Had to cut a lot of homies off, I goes just in the line. And that shit don't affect me, I was feeling fine. Still inspired to chase this fucking dream like the kid inside me.
Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out. Lost touch with reality. This shit got me forever free. And I'm so far gone now. Feel so alive and going all out.
Now, Yeho coming in, doing a little bit of damage on the shark, but it looks like Team Sexy wants to forward a nice flicker kick, nice knock up, down goes Marchu to the major damage.
That Franco was really low. He was more focused on lane. We're seeing a
Uzi getting demolished. Hayabusa. I think that was messed up on the Fini eliminated.
And kind of have someone keeping vision, and we are seeing a bit of a pick on off the feet. That's what it looks like. We'll see Ziggy though, getting caught up. Omega gets a stun, in comes Syndicate. He does use that Petrify, but Ziggy is gonna go down. It's another kill there, and do some sort of crazy play. But now he's taking some damage. He does turn and Syndicate will get the kill. Wait a second.
Music
Crossing taken out. Zia on the map. Zia taking some damage. In comes that ult.
The openings, they're not able to find those kills. That's going to get caught with another find.
Big swing down. Nice knock him on. That player maybe going down once again. He gets put down. Able to get the kill. And he does push on. Offender upon to Nicolette. Zia with that ultimate trying to make some space. Sharp with an human on blast. They are going to get the kill on to 8. Nice counterplay coming from Team Splits away to second best player with the petrify. Sharp trying to do it on blast. Will get stopped in his track. And a nice time offender on the Sharp. They stay that tower. Now coming around the side of Axel there. With the Sharp roll. They will get the kill on Nicolette coming on the Sharp.
Right now, they're being punished for it because Insomniacs is just outrotating them and not
But still able to get the kill on the best player. 3 members down. Make that for Nicolette all alone, but they don't have But again, no one's able to stop this movement on Black. It crashes down and gets the kill. Make that team fight. The disengage will most likely happen.
Welcome to the North American Squad League.
For those of you who are new, this is the first and currently only Mobile Legends League in all of North America.
A place where the top teams from the United States, Canada, and Mexico get to battle it out over the span of 10 weeks.
What are they battling for, you might ask? To start, 3,000 USD, 50,000 diamonds, but most of all, the right to say our team is the best.
It's been an amazing journey these past 2 seasons with teams like Area 77 and New Wave go home with the glory.
But as there will be 6 teams returning from previous seasons,
We do have some new faces coming in as well, and they look hungry.
For those of you loyal viewers who have been sticking with us through the past 2 seasons, we have to say thank you. And for
all of our new viewers,
welcome to the show.
we are back to the semifinals, back to the playoffs of the NASL, and like I've been saying, it is a hype game that we are about to watch. This is Ackerman with Zia, Yato, T, Gals Cutie, and Kush going up against the Valley, stacked with the players of Basic, Fried Chicken, Mobazane, Hoon, and Shark. Definitely gonna be a big game tonight, Private. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, it's no secret that this is the series that people have been wanting to see right now. As far as the squad league is concerned, these are the top two teams taking it to the max here tonight. This is going to be our first best of 5 matches here tonight. The Valley taking on Ackerman, and two teams that we have been wanting to see push to the limit, face each other, and see who comes out on top. A lot of odds favorites in here. I think people leaning either way. It's hard to kind of argue against the stacked team of the Valley, but if anybody is going to put them to their limits, I feel like it's going to be Ackerman.
Yeah, Ackerman definitely has the opportunity to do that, right? And honestly, I'm not a big believer in just teams being invincible anymore. I do think the Valley is like top dog right now, but I mean, a few months ago we put BTK as top dog and they got knocked out on, some would say a fluke, some would say a completely fair game. However you want to put it, it happens. NA is no longer a small pond. It is no longer a place where you can just swim around as the top dog. There are predators everywhere, and Ackerman is hungry. They want this win. They want to show everyone that they are up there with the best. They have this new lineup. They're also a stacked team. So the Valley can't just come in here playing crazy. They need to take this very seriously, especially with it being a best of 5. Any team could lose the first one, any team could lose the second one, and still have the opportunity to turn this thing around.
Yeah, interestingly enough, just with the combination of here, I think both teams have something to prove here, at least even with just some of the roster. Ackerman, we do know, was kind of a subset from Area 77. 3 members of that core group ended up disbanding after the NACT came together with Kush, with Zia to form Ackerman. On the other side, we already know. Chicken, yeah, Shark, Zane, part of BTK, knocked out in the same round that Area 77 was, the top 16. And not to take anything away from any of the other players here, but there are a few of them that have something to prove. And I think right now, looking at both of these teams, it's going to be a classic micro versus just planning and draft, as we've seen Ackerman able to reach outside that tight little box of meta to pick these outside the meta picks to kind of counter drafts, to answer back with something that immediately, and this is the crazy thing, is it's not even like so outside the wall. We'll be like, oh wow, we haven't seen that in a while, and yeah, I see that working because it's just a genius play. But on the side of the Valley, you have just an insane amount of skill. And that is what I've been wanting to see these two clash for so often, for so long now for.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, you know, looking at this right here, looking at these two teams, and let's take a second. I talked about Ackerman, not the Valley, right? Basic. Valley has not gotten a squad league championship yet. They've been around since season 1. They haven't got an NACT championship yet. And whether you want to call it or not, Basic has been working hard to build the Valley into a name to be known, to build the Valley into a team to be known. I think that's the reason why they're not keeping the BTK, why they're not taking the BTK name, because Basic wants the Valley. He's been working hard. He has now rostered up a team that looks very tough. So I'm not going to take any of this away from Basic, because he has been grinding. The man has been working at trying to build something. I remember last season, the Valley was just kind of that lazy team. They had tremendous talent, but they were the team that we were all like, oh yes, they're so great. They're amazing players, but the problem is they don't put their hard work into it. And this season, the past couple months, they have been hard. They have been sweating. I've been seeing them in scrims. I've been seeing them in every tournament. I've been seeing them make their games on time, which is, you know, used to be unheard of, right? The Valley was like, oh, we got to watch the Valley again tonight. Be ready for a late show, you know? And now they are just showing up. So Basic definitely bringing the Valley to a new standard, and they are also hungry. He wants to put some belts on those hips, you know, he wants to put some trophies on the wall. So both teams very, very hungry for this, as you said, man. And I think we're in for some fireworks tonight, no matter how this goes, whether it's a sweep, whether it's a rubber band match, all the way to best of 5. Both teams are going to give it their all. Now, the teams are getting ready, getting lobbied up. So, what do you think Ackerman needs to bring to the table to take this? Do you think their normal, like, mid-game spike is going to work? Do you think that that's going to be what they need? Or do you think if they let the Valley win out in the laning phase, it's going to be over?
Well, I don't even think that that's all that Ackerman has been bringing. Is this the drafts? They have been one of the top teams because there's a plan in their draft. There's a comp that they have in mind. If somebody bans something out, if they throw a pick in the side of the Valley that they're not prepared for, they know how to answer it while still complementing their draft as well, which is is one of the biggest I want to say factors for Ackerman right now, and the skill still great on them. Zia, Kush, Gals QDT, Yato, these are some of the top in NA. And we were talking a little bit about kind of that laziness that comes along with it. On the side of the Valley, this is the Valley I have been wanting to see since I first started casting. I know Basic. I know the names of Basic and the rest of what was on this team at the time. And that was your thoughts mimicked what I had in my head as well. Super genius, but kind of, dare I say, lazy. Didn't have a lot of practice. Not big.
As most geniuses are.
Yeah, well, but what I have seen in the playoffs have been a completely different Valley. Not even just in the squad league. They've been coming on time. They've been performing, but even Shark, who has been like the biggest question for me of how serious he sometimes take it in the playoffs right now. He has been taking this serious. It's been like a completely different person. And I am excited to see how both of these teams clash into one another.
Yeah, and we are now ready to see how they clash. Both teams are ready in their comms, microphones ready, check, ready to go. This will be Ackerman going up against the Valley. Now Ackerman is on the top side of the bracket. They will be on the blue side up front with first pick, first band.
A big question for me right now is what is their plan? Are they planning to isolate Zane, or are they going to be looking at the rest of the team? We do know that Zane has been favoring that tank arena pretty well for the last, either from his streaming, his ranked matches, and then from the one match we saw here, or the 2 matches, I believe, where he used it in the playoffs here. Right off the bat, though, we're going to go ahead and get rid of probably one of the biggest threats here is for Ramis to the team play.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge mistake that we saw last night. We saw Hoon on the Fermis and was just played it in such an aggressive manner, so different than how we've normally seen it played. So I'm glad Ackerman not wasting any time. And normally, first band, you let the other team ban those things out, but they're not taking any chances with game 1. They're going to keep it simple. They're going to keep it easy. Now, on to the next one, right? Fanny getting taken out from the side of the Valley, which T has been known to pick up even the off-lane Fanny here, has won some games with it in Season 2. So, I mean, it's not something unheard of. So the Valley not wanting that to be something that they have to deal with. Wan now coming out as well.
Well, yeah, and this is the amazing thing is both these teams, all of these players are so familiar with each other. They know what everybody likes to play. They know the comps that they like to go for, not just from this season, but for like years. These same people have been facing each other over and over and over again, just at the different tops of different mountains here in the NA scene here. And then we're going to go ahead and see that Franco taken out as well to kind of offset some of that early game aggression and the ability to kind of pull with that iron hook and that shutdown with the suppression on that bloody hunt as well.
Yeah, so draft's very different than what we would I mean, I wouldn't say very different, but like with the Franco, with the Wan, already seeing like teams, they know what they wanted to ban, a bit different than what we've seen in past team. Now we are taking out the Claude, limiting basic down right here, and with Beatrix still open, a possibility, not only that, Valentina open, putting the Valley into that situation we've seen many teams in for this second pick. So once again, the question is, do they leave the Valentina open and maybe give the Valentina over for the Beatrix, or do they just ban the Valentina and give up this Beatrix on first pick?
There's so many picks open right now because you have the Valentina, you have Julian, you have Beatrix, you have Masha open still. A lot of interesting picks still open, which kind of leads into like, what are you going to ban? They do take out the Valentina, which means you have first pick coming up here, but how is that in turn going to be answered by the Valley as well?
Yeah, the Valentina gets up. I think Ackerman picks up this Beatrix. You want to put Z on it. It's one of his star picks, but they pick up the Masha instead. Not a bad pickup. I think if anyone can really rock that Masha well, it could be Gals, but T actually swaps into it, so maybe they are going to have it as the EXP lane here.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like last week or not last week, but yesterday kind of offset the expectations of the Masha. I forgot who was using it, but it was not able to kind of capitalize on that flanking ability that we're so used to with the Masha. To be able to get behind lines, have that thickness, have that durability to dive onto the squishier heroes, take them out while a team fight is happening. But, I mean, I don't think we're going to have that problem with Ackerman here. We do see the answer, though, the Beatrix and the Diggy picked up by the Valley.
Yeah, the Beatrix and the Diggy. Shark has been rocking the Diggy a lot recently, and I mean making it look very good. Now, Ackerman with the Masha pick, some way to defend it. Definitely a flexible pick for your up front. The Beatrix, you're immediately... that's gold lane, right? With the Masha, you have some flexibility for these next two picks. You have some opportunity to change your draft around as you move through these next 4 picks throughout the whole phase. At any point, they can still pick up a tank, or they can still pick up an EXP laner. So yes, they gave up that powerhouse of the Beatrix, but now they have the opportunity to counter a little bit more. Now Kush locking in this Ballman, bringing in that aggression, bringing in some nice, objective ability. So, and Yato coming in with that comfort pick of the Lilia, something we've seen him thrive on for, over a year now.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday too. It's basically one of his favorite picks, and we saw yesterday how good he is on that Lilia, being able to either get in to slow down the enemy team. We saw it yesterday where it was used to basically pour into a Wan where the entire team was geared on slowing, suppressing, CCing the enemy to allow Wan to get those weakness stacks. So we know Yato knows how to use this hero inside and out. But on the side of the Valley, they pick up a Kai for MOBA Zane here. The ability, the damage he's able to do, and the offset. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. He's no longer that jungler that needs to be in the glory, needs to get the kills. He goes in, gets the objectives, puts the damage on, helps to kind of alleviate the stress for the team, but mostly feeding in for Basic and Hoon to do their job.
And the main problem, though, that I'm seeing for Ackerman right now is the gold lane, right? They banned out the Wan, they banned out the Claude, and now that they opted not to go for the Beatrix up front, we're looking very limited. At this point, the Erthel ban, if they followed up with the Bruno ban, there is still the Clint, right? That's like, and I guess the gold lane has a lot of options, but they're just really gonna hone in down onto Zia here. So I think, yeah, go for the Clint, get rid of that range, and force Zia into the Bruno. The Bruno has done well against other teams, but I don't know if it's gonna do amazing against the Valley here.
Well, I mean, the thing too is with the Bruno, especially when you're ahead, Bruno shines. And when you're able to enforce your will, when you're able to push the enemy lines back, which gives Bruno enough time to be able to put on a lot of that crit damage he does. I mean, he shines there. It's just when you get behind that Bruno has a problem because of his range, which allows the enemy to kind of come in for some of those ganks. So, I mean, it's either or. personally, I can't play Bruno. I have the biggest problem with his range. But so Zia, I mean, he's an anomaly to me when it comes to seeing how well he does on this Bruno. Like I can't even say like he should or he shouldn't pick it, because I mean, honestly, it's he's got his own way of playing it that is successful. But I'm not even sure if that would be the best pick. You talked about Clint too. We haven't seen Clint in a while. Another person who's
but he thrives. He does well though.
Yeah.
Like he almost always does well. So he's like, in my head, he's like the underrated marksman. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like probably one of the most underrated marksmen at that. But we are jumping now into the next picks here. Raph was banned, which I think was kind of a clutch ban, because I mean, yes, it looks weird, but when you think about it, it would have worked so well with the Balmond and the Lilia.
Yeah, you have if their plan was to have this Raph, I think that there's other answers for it as well. You have the Matilda in there that could help them with that, but I mean that's even if they read correctly. Yeah, I mean he's just dancing around it. Like I said, I'm gonna be sitting here even if I have to play by play, just taking notes. Like, okay, don't die. Step 1 to play a successful Bruno. But we do see Hoon picking up this Julian, and
that's scary.
It's interesting. I feel bad because I just got done saying before about how I hate Julian in the mid. I hate Julian in the XP. I think he flourishes as a jungler, but when he's picked up by Hoon, somebody with the hands that Hoon has, I think it can shine. And we've seen him go absolutely ridiculous with it as well. And is this
Hold on, night two? Night two of the Angela coming in, Ackerman picking it up to use it, and they're the ones who ran it last night against, who did they run it against? The Simpsons? Or I can't remember. I know they ran up against Team First Blood, right?
Yeah, First Blood.
They ran up against Team First Blood. It worked well, and they're going to bring it back in now. Going to add some nice sustainability onto the Balmond or onto the Masha, or even give Yato even more time to tower dive and still have the Black Shoes behind that, right? Fried Chicken, though, hovering over this Cho. I don't know if I've ever seen Chicken. No, there it is. There's the Dairoth. I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen him play the Cho in the off lane. I know that was like a cardy thing. He is going to lock in this Dairoth. I mean, I like both drafts. I think the Julian could really be the thing that tips the scales here, though, right? If Hoon can pop off, get some nice sets in the early stages here, or even Shark, if he babysits that gold lane with basic, there's just a lot of nice possible combinations for the Valley. But when I look at Ackerman, it's like you got one strategy here. Balmond, Yato, and Gals Cutie need to be able to run this mid lane in the beginning game. Maybe Masha in the late game can apply some pressure too, but let's not talk anymore about the drafts because we're jumping in this game private.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing here, too. And I think that was a good read by the Valley there, because Bruno and Rafaela do have a great combination, and I think they just switched that out. This is what I was talking about before. They have the ability that when a draft comes or when something unexpected comes, they can replace it because they're thinking so many steps ahead. But this is going to be game 1, Ackerman taking on the newly formed Valley.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good game. I got a feeling that we are in for some fireworks, like I said. Now, this Angela could become very, very clutch, especially paired up with the Balmond when you get that Heart Guard on him, and then you get that second skill. He has the chase ability to make sure that that second skill stun locks in, so it could be dangerous when we get into some of these ganks, when we get into some of these pushes. And look at Ackerman already coming down to this gold lane, knowing Super Shark wants to hover around basic here, knowing he wants to give that advantage. Ackerman is ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be able to do much to stop Ackerman from getting that Litho Wanderer. It is going to give them just the littlest bit of advantage. But, I mean, against a team like the Valley, against Zane and his farming ability, it's not going to be much of an advantage.
Yeah, but even though Zane has a great farming ability, I mean, you're going up against Kush here on this Balmond, who's probably one of the fastest junglers right now in all reality. Like, and the ability to just dash through the walls and all of that, clear things. Balmond's hard to keep up with in the jungle, and you can already see it's not big, but he's a little bit quicker than Zane in these rotations in his jungle pathing overall.
Yeah, and right now we're gonna start seeing Zane hiding out in this mid bush Kush, and then I'm about to walk right past here. I guess a little bit of a greeting there, a little handshake there as both teams kind of pass each other in the night, getting ready for this first turtle.
Yeah, and with the turtle coming up soon, it does look like Zane and Hoon and the rest of the team want to go for this, but same with Ackerman, so I got a feeling we may have a big clash here. Now, can Zane use that heavy spin to counter Kush, or will Kush get this lethal counter in as well to secure it? It's definitely going to be a kind of a who's going to pop the ultimate a little too early, who's going to be able to zone for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and right now we do see them trying to poke out, bait this turtle out. Here comes T-Dreek onto the backline, onto Shark, taking him very low right now. They are coming in there. Shark able to get the turtle out from underneath Ackerman, even with the retry and the lethal counter. Shark able to pick that up as they are continuing to push in now, pushing down their advantage. They do have a heavy spin. Kush able to get out to safety now, but that blue buff take it all the way almost into mid lane right now, and it does look like it's going to go over to the Valley.
That had, I mean, a little bit of nerves there, maybe a little bit of jitters, because there was no reason. I mean, I know Shark's just probably loading bombs in there, or just basically doing something, loading those bunnies of death in there, you know, trying to back it. But Kush should have gotten that, but he misses the retry, messes it up a little bit, and loses out on that turtle. And the Valley knows instinctually, they're like, oh, we're coming in. We are going to move in, take this blue buff. Luckily, no one does go down, but now Yato forced to use black shoes.
Yeah, just such a great read by the Valley as soon as they get the advantage. And that's what we're talking about. These teams at this high of a rate of play, as soon as they get an advantage, they're going to press it. They're going to try to get in there, getting themselves a purple buff for it. Right now, sitting at a little bit under 1K lead right now. We do have a heavy spin coming down, trapping Kush. He is going to get rewinded here a bit, but is still safe. No real deaths. Nobody really trying to go in to really make the big play yet.
Yeah, and Shark is, I mean, he's down at this gold lane a lot, but he's so good at, like, you know, being intuitive and rotating to that mid at the nick of time, like getting that pullback on Kush, getting that pullback on certain players, and always there. But wait a second, Hoon able to dash away. Still 0 deaths on the board, though. Even though we're seeing some action, nothing too major up in the top. T is pushed away from his tower, but the Valley is holding a slight gold lead right now.
Yeah, they are having a gold lead, and they're actually really kind of impressing it upon their opponents right now. Really kind of going the entire distance. We do have a little bit of a pop-up onto Gal's Cutie. Here comes the spin on the Kush. He wasn't able to get the lethal counter. He got stunned out of it, and that gave the opportunity for the Valley to pick up their second turtle.
Yeah, they're just lacking that CC, right? You have Yato who does some nice damage, but you're with the pickup on this Angela, you're kind of lacking a tank or anyone who can get those big knockups, and the Valley is full of it right now. They have the heavy spin, they have the enhanced change from Julian, able to get the knockup, and then they have Shark to top it all off, get these pullbacks, do things like that, and it is a deadly combination. But I wouldn't say it's quite over yet, but at this point, 5 minutes in, the Valley is starting to scale in MOBA, Zane, Shark. They smell the blood. They're starting to invade now. They know they have a lead, and they're gonna press the advantage.
Yeah, 3K lead at the 5-minute mark. You know that they need to be pressing this advantage here. Zia takes a shot from Basic down here at the bottom, but is able to clean up that bottom lane.
Man, it is just... You're starting to feel the thing. One thing I like about the Valley right now, though, is they're taking it slow. Like they know they don't want to get too crazy. You see a lot of teams start to get a bit of an advantage like this, and they just start pushing in. But the Valley knows that Ackerman, they're showing some respect in a sense, and they're saying, all right, we don't want to push in. We have the lead. Let's just keep on taking this lead more and more and more until we know we can just roll over. One thing we got to point out as well, gold lane, both gold laners at a standstill, 0-0. Taking a look at the items, Basic 4,200. Zia is a little bit behind, has locked in the Berserker's Fury, will get some nice crit off of that. Looks like he's going to go into the Endless Battle next, to where on the side of Basic, he's going to start working on that Malefic Roar.
Yeah, Kush in a little bit of trouble here. Does get taken out quite quickly. Yato is going to have to activate those black boots to get out of the way. Not sure if he's going to have it. He does use that flicker, but in comes T, getting a heavy spin for his efforts. And now he's going to have to try to disengage. Now, here comes that time journey to go ahead and cover the escape for the Valley.
All right, so Kush at 0-2, not looking too great, but oh, Gal's Cutie now also taking a death. Big pick from Hoon there in the bottom lane. Basic helps, Hoon helps out to get Basic that kill. Another turtle now going over the Valley, 4-0. Yato luckily hasn't taken a death, but I can't talk too soon. Forced to use those black shoes. T-Drinks also could end up helping out the team. We're seeing him add some survivability.
Yeah, he is trying to come here for the flank as they are pressing on. Here comes the lethal counter. Down goes MOBA Zane. A good little advantage for the side of Ackerman, but not able to do too much of it. A successful defense nonetheless.
Yeah, successful defense nonetheless, and picking up that kill on a MOBA Zane shows. This is why I think the Valley want to be careful, because they know that if they try to tower dive a little too crazy, if they try to make a play that's a little too abnormal, Ackerman will take advantage of it. Even if they are 4K behind, they know how to get a kill. They know how to take a team fight. So the Valley, I think, just needs to continue this pace. Ackerman, on the other hand, I think are going to end up relying a lot on T here. A lot on Yato. Is taking no deaths. Kush, with those deaths, shouldn't... it's not too big of a deal. He's building tank. He's not the damage dealer, right? Down in the bottom lane, though, Zia, maybe you're going to be able to take this tower.
Yeah, Fried Chicken here all alone is able to get out of the way of that slow, but he does leave that tower open. Second tower. So they have matched it up here. We do see the hard guard coming onto Kush. Not sure he's going to be able to defend this. Trying to take out that minion. He is successful. Putting on some damage to Hoon. Does he have enough to take him out? He does, and receives a shot. A little bit of a little pecking from this Basic there, but he is going to be able to get that scot-free. Now moving their sights onto this mid tower. I don't think that they know Fried Chicken is here on the side.
Yeah.
Tush gonna have to disengage here right now. We do see that time journey coming out, but still a lot of damage onto this tower and a successful defense for the side of the Valley.
Fried Chicken's patience there. Hold on, T got bad. Nah, that's a Masha.
That's a Masha.
That's a Masha. I forgot.
That's
Sorry.
only 1 bar of health. Get good.
Now back to Fried Chicken though, sitting in that bush, right? The patience, not forcing that fight. His team's, the comms, they're talking like, just stay there. They're not gonna be able to take this tower. We're good. If Ackerman did decide to push in, he's ready to strike, ready to go, but he's able to hold back, knows his team's got it, and just disengage.
Yeah, and just a great min-maxing done by the team right now. We do see them starting on this Lord. Is MOBA Zane trying to put on the damage. We don't know if Kush is going to be coming in here yet. He's going to be a little bit more careful. He knows that they have the counters on their team to stop him. Gal's Cutie gets taken down quite quickly right now. Here comes Kush. He's not going to be able to get to it. Z goes down as well. 10% left. MOBA Zane able to pick that up. Kush not even in an area to do much damage to it. Basic's going to be able to get away. Lord T might be in a little trouble. He is down to his 2nd bar of health. He is down to 1 right now as a mean old bunny chasing him back into the top turret.
Listen, Shark, man, Shark. Those reverse times have been the death of Ackerman right now. T so close to taking out Basic, the reverse time pulls him back. Anytime someone's about to get the side of the Valley, Shark is able to save them and make the play happen. It's not always the kill play, but it can be the defense that and that's the thing about Shark, right? Even back a year ago on the Matilda, his peel capabilities, the ability he has to help his team get away, he's always there. Big Brother Shark has the team and is able to protect them at all times.
Yeah, possibly one of the #1 roams in NA. It's showing in this game. And there we have Zane with a heavy spin and is able to get back out of there, but they are trying to put pressure onto this top tower right now. Fried Chicken able to take down the bottom. We are left 2 inhibitors right now, still waiting as this pressure starts to mount on the side of Ackerman. But it does look like the Valley sitting here waiting for this mid one. This is usually a mistake for other teams to kind of crowd around here, but they know they have the advantage. Here come the minions in here right now. Kush coming in with that spin right now as the Hearts Guard goes on to T. Is it going to be enough? We have a pop-up onto Kush. The rest of the team of the Valley trying to bait out, trying to get the team out. They're not going to fall for it, but they are still putting that pressure onto Ackerman.
And what a pressure at that. Luckily, Ackerman is able to defend, not lose a single inhibitor. But at this point, they have a long road ahead of them if they want to get this game. I mean, I'm not counting Zia completely out, but it doesn't matter how good the burst damage of the Bruno is. The Beatrix is still going to be more fearsome, I figure. I mean, with the sniper burst damage, then if he wants to, he has so much more utility. Just so much more things can come from that Beatrix. So it's hard to defend Ackerman in if you think like late game, right? Like, oh, maybe they can survive till the end. Yes, they do have T, like, who can be that front line and also even put out some damage. The thing is Shark is just always there, as I said last time I was talking. So they need to find a way to work around him, I feel like. They need to either maybe target Shark, because even though he's not getting the kills, he is the problem. They just can't get in onto that back line with him there. And Chicken hasn't even been super involved in these fights, right? Like, he's more just kind of sitting, waiting in the clutch. And that's what I think his plan is. Like, let's say you do get past Shark and you still try to get to basics, still try to get to that back line. Chicken's going to be there ready to take off the head.
Yeah, and right now they're kind of put at a standstill right now, baiting and running around the bush while this Lord is coming up right now. And I'm not sure that they have the offense needed right here at the 12-minute mark. They're still 8K behind. What a quick cover onto that Luminous Lord. And we're going to have a problem for these inhibitor towers when that Lord comes out.
Yeah, big problem at that. And one thing I can say, the Valley's starting to freeze the lanes a little bit, eat up the jungle. Ackerman not taking the bait. You know, they're staying in the base. They know, I mean, they do, I think, have the ability to possibly melt down this Lord as long as they don't have a big pick, as long as there's no big knockup, no big enhanced chains from Hoon, you know, no big heavy spin from Zane. They could survive out on this Lord. We're 13 and a half minutes in. It is a 10K gold lead. So the opportunity is definitely there for the Valley to end this now. Ackerman needs to be on their A game.
Yeah, all lanes starting to crash in. Lord coming in for the charge, able to chunk down that mid inhibitor, but we have minions at the top and a bottom. Enhanced chains does catch up too, and they are pressing their advantage down at the bottom. We lose another inhibitor. Lord is down to 10% health. Looks like he is going to be taken down by Kush there, as the rest of the team looking for another opening for yet another
they're
tower.
staying.
They are rushing through the mid. They're not trying to get out of here. Shark in a little bit of trouble. Hearts Guard onto T as he is charging in. Here comes the time journey as more minions crashing into the core. Nobody dies.
Chicken.
I say that. Zia goes down, and Chicken is going to be answering for that as well. Here comes the heavy spin, trying to disengage on the entire team. A lot of damage onto the core right now as Basic sprays down with that semi. 10% left on this core. Do Kush and T have enough to fend off and defend this attack? Oh, look at the shotgun by Basic. That's a wrap. And we see the Valley taking game one over Ackerman.
Wow. Wow, Chicken coming in at the last moment, dashing all the way in, able to take out Zia. And then even with Zane, seeing Zane make a play like that is just so weird in my mind, because as we've talked about, he's always been the kill getter. But seeing Zane using that Akai to its full potential, zoning them all away from the tower, swinging around the bottom side, opening up the base, letting that final wave come in. Just, you know, they probably could have taken it just in a straight brawl, but they're still using their brains into the last moments, playing that to a perfect T.
Well, and not just that, but in kind of the unsung heroes, Shark and Zane, like the two greatest supports that you could ask for on a team. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but like, especially Kush coming in with that Belmont, the biggest problem for Belmont coming into these objectives, trying to get these turtles, trying to get these lords, Zane coming in with that dash, stopping the lethal counter, because that's what we saw. We saw he even had the border. It was out. It was ready to slam, and Zane was right there with that dash that popped the Belmont up into the air and stopped Kush, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the objectives there, because Kush knew he couldn't just blindly run in there, start spinning, and hope to get a lucky retry and lethal counter. And not just that, but we saw what happened at the first one. His retry and lethal counter, maybe a little bit of nerves, but Shark able to get that first
Shark
turtle.
Not Zane. No retry needed. Shark takes the first turtle. Now, I think something that we're kind of lacking on the side. Let's jump back to the Caster's Nest as we get ready for game 2. Something that was a bit lacking. They went for that Angela pick. Now, Gal's cutie, man. The man is a set maker, a play maker. I think that's something we need to see from him. I like the Angela pick, and it did work there a bit, but once again, they had no way to defend against all the CC that the Valley brought in that game. So I'm thinking this time they need to reapproach the draft, maybe have a bit more defensive in the front line, especially if the Valley is going to have something like the Akai, something like Hoon on the Julian, which honestly, the Julian kind of felt like it just slipped through the cracks towards the end there. We never even noticed it wasn't on the ban screen, and it comes in the second phase at that. So, I mean, Ackerman definitely needs to reevaluate the drafting phase. I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Yeah, and this is why I said it's if Ackerman, I feel like their biggest strength is they're going to have to be able to outdraft the Valley. We saw back there that they weren't able to. They didn't have the early game pressure, and the moment the Valley got ahead, got a little bit of something in their advantage, got the tiniest bit of momentum, they used it, getting that turtle. Immediately after getting that turtle, knew they had a shield, knew they had an advantage in a team fight, pressed on to get the purple buff, and then they just kept that pressure on after every successful objective. And that's something that we don't see too often from teams right now, is that a lot of teams, like we've talked about it before, they get the objective and then they disengage really quickly because they got what they wanted. The Valley thinking more into the future of that. It's not just about getting that objective, it's about getting the objective, getting the advantage, and then using that advantage right away.
Yeah, and Ackerman's known for kind of always being the leader in those things, doing those things that you're talking about. So now they need to think about what we're going to do when we're behind, because we haven't really seen them pressured yet. You know, when they formed up, they've been dominating a lot, but now they're up against someone that's going to put their backs against the wall. So Ackerman needs to kind of adapt, needs to be one of those teams that can fall back, hold on. I think they need to bring a bit more late game possibilities, like some damage possibilities, just in case it comes down to that clutch moment, because now they know they're not going to be able to just bully the Valley in the early game. So they need to think about the long hill. As you were saying, think about the future of every single game. But let's not talk much more. We're going to jump into the second draft. Ackerman will be second pick this time, the Valley on the gun.
Yeah, selecting, wanting to go ahead and reply to the Valley this time. We do see that early Fanny taken out. A little bit of respect there for Kush there and his ability, his fast hands, if you will, on that Fanny as well. I'm wondering if we're going to see some type of change, because this has been a personal problem when facing somebody like Shark. He creates such dangerousness with some of these roams that it's almost you get to the point where you're like, should we ban that? Yeah, and then they do. But like, as I've said before, when it comes to that, it's not the only thing that Shark can play. You're almost better off looking for a counter for it, because Shark is just so versatile with his roams, with what he can put out there, that if you take that away, it just means that he's adjusted to the left a bit or to the right a bit. So there needs to be maybe an answer for it.
Yeah, there does need, but it's hard to find an answer, right? But I think you just need like, normally it's like, all right, get CC, right? And Shark just plays the Diggy so well, honestly, like so well. Like he second picked that. It wasn't even meant as a counter. Most teams pick up the Diggy as a like, all right, you got the Atlas, all right, you have the Akai. Like he was like, we're gonna use this because I'm a G with this thing. Like he knows that he can, the pullbacks. It wasn't even about the ultimate. It wasn't even about the time journey. You know, the major thing that made that that Diggy's such a star that game was the reverse time, was that second skill, the peel ability of him, and then towards the end, just the constant bombardment of that skill 1, right? So, Ackerman, yes, that is it is an iffy ban, but if Ackerman doesn't want to have to deal with it, they're just not going to. You could say the same about the Fanny ban, right? Like, Fanny's broken, but there's answers to it, but it just seems like it's something that the Valley does not want to have to deal with.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of compositions we go in here for these next few bands. We didn't see. That's the thing with the Diggy too. And on the side of Ackerman, we didn't have any real setting potential. We didn't really have any offsetting potential. I think it was a good read by the Valley to take out the Rafaela, because I think that's what they were looking for. What Ackerman was looking for, to kind of team up with that Bruno, to kind of team up with that composition, to offer them the engagement, to offer them the disengagement and the stun from that holy baptism. And then they kind of went with the dollar store version, which is Angela, which didn't really benefit their composition, didn't really benefit in team fights. I mean, you got a little bit of protection for one person, maybe to help Masha charge in, maybe to protect Belmont as he goes in, but not really like that team synergy. And maybe that's what we're going to be changing here on the side of Ackerman, at least what I would like to see.
Hold on, there's a lot of things on the field right now. Either the Faramis or the Valentina are going to get left open. I think at this point, Ackerman, don't ban either one. Let it run. Yeah. I think ban the Beatrix. Or no, leave the Beatrix open. Ban something else. Real random, I feel like. Just ban
Layla.
Ban the Akai.
Just let them all out.
No, maybe ban the Akai here or something. Because, I mean, at this point, the Valentina, the Beatrix, and the Faramis could all be open. And being second pick, I feel like you have the advantage in that, right? Because are you really going to upfront the Beatrix with the Faramis and the Valentina on the field? Because it's not like you can't pick up both of those. Yes, it's not normal. Ooh, they go for the Valentina pick. Who on the Faramis?
I don't know about this. Yeah, I mean, they played it before, and I don't know why you would ban the Valentina, which is the most obvious counter for the Faramis. You leave Valentina open, they get Faramis, they get Valentina, and that has been the epic war between characters. It's always usually the Faramis versus the Valentina, as Valentina is able to steal the cult altar as well. Then it becomes about who can take those cult altars and use them more effectively. But without a cult altar on your side, there's going to need to be a lot of damage and a lot of engagement on your team to be able to kind of withstand that.
And Zia also opts to go for the Claude now. Now, I'm not downplaying the Claude at all. I've seen, like, the Claude can be a solid pick, especially with all the survivability that the Valley is going to bring with this Faramis. It can help out. You have nice spread damage to everybody. You can get in and out, stay away from the Beatrix in the early game. I think they're kind of at a standstill, honestly. So it's going to come down to who ganks. I think at this point, though, the Valley should probably lock in the Beatrix, because Ackerman's going to be banning that out in the second phase. Mobazane hovering over this Paquito could be a decent jungle pick.
Yeah, we saw him use this yesterday as well to great success, and I'm the same way.
Spicy.
Okay. Yeah, spicy, and not a bad counter, especially in the early game. It just has such a dominating amount of damage. As we know that, we do know that Claude struggles a little bit in the early game, the lane clearing phase, to kind of get that Demon Hunter sword, to get that golden staff, to where he's able to shred down the enemy team as well. So Clint is going to definitely mash up well against that, and we do see, as we move into the second banning phase, picking up the Esmeralda and then putting down the counter in Dairoth.
Yeah, and with that, T will have, I mean, even we saw last game, T doing a decent job on the Masha against Dairoth. Yes, you know, he does end up, Fried Chicken did end up winning out, but you could almost put that onto just the whole rest of the team gaining leverage across the map. This time T Drinks should be able to ban out most of, I mean, they should be able to ban out most of the counters. The Dairoth down. The question is, do they go for the Uranus or the Thamus as the next band, or do they completely switch gears?
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing. I honestly depends If you ban out the Uranus, I'm not sure what else can really compete with what Esmeralda brings to that side lane. We do see them taking away that Lolita, which is pretty interesting as well, as they don't really have much that she would shine in as far as that the shield would go. But I guess definitely not wanting to deal with the sets from that Numenon Blast as well.
And I mean, the Lolita, yeah, the sets from the Numenon Blast are dangerous. I guess you shield Zia, but the Claude can just dance around so well. The Valley, though, does take out the Cho. Definite target at Gals. And at this point, I'm excited to see what Gals goes for. We do... Oh, there it is. The Grok. More big set potential. This time Ackerman bringing in the CC, bringing in the sustainability, and possibly the ability to outlast that Cult Altar here.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing here too, is we know that Shark does like to play that Grok. We've seen him do it yesterday as well, using it, being able to get great sets on the team as he's using that wild charge, pops them up. If he's near a wall, gets the stun on them, which will open up these team fights for his teammates there. We do see the answer in Uranus for that XP lane. So I'm guaranteeing you, we're gonna start off with them kind of clashing at each other, but if these lanes are left alone, you're gonna see both Fried Chicken and T basically ignoring each other and cutting each other's lanes. Yeah,
most likely. I do think that, but there is a bit more danger, I think, for Fried Chicken to come in and cut lane, because there is a bit more pick potential, right? A bit more CC. He should still be able to get rid of it. I think at this point, maybe Ackerman even wants, instead of constantly focusing on the gold lane, maybe if you can trust Zia enough to survive in the gold lane in the first few minutes, maybe try to get a pick onto Fried Chicken, put T above, because the Uranus does eventually outbeat the Esmeralda. As we creep past that level 4 into the mid lane, if both go with 0 deaths, the Uranus counters it. The Uranus ends up on top. So I think Ackerman need to figure this out and get T the advantage, because he does do amazing in that mid to late game if he can zone for his team.
Really dancing around these mage picks, but they are gonna go with an Xavier pick. It's pretty interesting because I think that I saw them dancing around the Selena, and I really kind of liked that anyway, because if you get that potential pick, that Abyssal Arrow on and stun onto Hoon, you have a great potential to take him out before these fights even start. Fortunately, right now we are set on our compositions. This is gonna be game 2 of Ackerman taking on the Valley. I'm excited to see how they're going to be able to deal with this. Ackerman obviously has a plan. They gave over the Faramis to to the Valley, especially seeing how Hoon was on it. So they know it's going to be an addition to something else from Shark. So we're going to see how well they are able to deal with this pick.
And they're going to need to be able to deal with it, right? We saw how well Hoon did on the Faramis last night. We know how well many teams do on the Faramis. So that is going to be the main thing they need to play around. Now this time, they've switched up the draft a little bit. They brought in a lot of CC. They brought in some nice burst damage with Yato on the save Xavier, and some nice DPS damage from the Claude with Zia. So I like their draft. I like it a lot. The question is, can it go up against the Valley?
Well, I do like what I do like about the Grok. What I do like about this mid right now is the clear potential from both Gals Cutie and Xavier on there, able to take down those minions quite quickly and will aid in them being able to rotate quickly.
Yeah, and Hoon's already getting some grabs off. He's so good at finding those angles. Yato's gonna need to be careful. Xavier's not the monster that it used to be. He's not as great in the early game. It takes him a bit of time. He's gonna get pulled back here now. Down in the bottom lane, Shark also hovering with basic once again.
Yeah, and we do see Shark kind of come pressing in on here. Neither team really trying to back off here. Shark is going to go ahead and be pushed on a little bit as Hoon, careful with his distance, not wanting to show himself right now. But we now have 4 members down here potentially looking for a gank or looking to just have some security as they take the gold and move into the jungle.
Yeah, and they're keeping up pressure. Zane moving in, but both junglers are going to trade off. This time Zane jungling a little bit faster. with this Paquito. Gonna have a bit more speed in his rotations than the Akai, I think. But overall, when it comes down to this turtle, the Akai could have the possible answer, right? I mean, depending on how the Cult Altar plays out.
Ooh, T in a little bit of trouble here. Does have 3 members to contend with him. We do see that Shadow Stampede is able to pull him back, but he does activate those boots. Fried Chicken coming in for the kill. We see a shield on the T. He is going to be able to use that ult to get away just over that hill, but this is going to go ahead and open up the turtle for Mobazane as he starts on a Kush in a bad position here right now, as the rest of the team coming in to push and zone them away. Shark and Chicken doing their job as Ackerman is going to have to disengage, so this is going to be a free turtle for the Valley.
I like the fact, though, that Ackerman doesn't even try. They know they're down a member. T's forced to go back to the base. This means Fried Chicken is going to be able to help in the zoning, help in the fight. In a 3v4, you don't want to try for the turtle, even with the heavy spin, even with some of those possibilities, so they decide to back off, get back to the jungle, and at this time, honestly, Ackerman's still up in gold, even after losing that turtle.
Yeah, and this is, I think that's why they're so comfortable being able to let it go right now. They're clearing fast, they're rotating fast, they're keeping up the macro, but you do see right now the advantage starting to go over into the Ackerman as they are starting to go deeper and deeper into the jungle. We just saw Mobazane pick up that red buff from the Valley.
Yeah, may have a bit of something happening, maybe not. I'm wondering, I think a lot of it's basic, like, you gotta be careful. I've said it before in the Clint. He can die a few times and still output heavy burst damage. And the only problem with the Clint right now is he doesn't have a whole lot of peel. Like, the Beatrix Shark's gonna have to make the choice. Do I play this as an engager and bring my team to the enemy, or do I stay back and protect basic? When it comes down to these big 5v5s, that's gonna be the choice that Shark makes, and Ackerman is gonna have to immediately respond and try to capitalize on what choice Shark decides on.
Yeah, it's really interesting here how a lot of this vision, a lot of these ganks are being held at bay with how these guys are positioning. Hoon hiding in the bush. We do see a little bit of trouble here as T latching on with Kush to try to take out Zane. Here comes a dawning light, and down goes Mobazane. First kill of the day, or of the match, going over to the Ackerman, and Hoon goes down over at mid as well. Great start for the side of Ackerman. We do see Shark getting a little bit of trouble, does get stuck in that CC of Yato, but doesn't go down a little bit more tankier than the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, so Ackerman with the new composition, finding some plays, finding some moments, actually catching Zane off guard there. Next turtle is up, and this time I feel like Ackerman is a bit more prepared for it.
Yeah, a little bit more prepared, but Shark doing Shark things, already setting up the turtle. So it's in a bad position for Ackerman because it's on the side of the Valley, which means they're going to have to contest with it. We do see that circling eagle coming on to Kush now. Shark in the background trying to zone them out, but Kush coming in here, I'm not sure. Here comes the Cult Altar. Kush able to pick up that turtle there, but is the Cult Altar going to be enough to save as Ackerman coming in with a heavy spin and that Shadow Stampede able to pull back Yato to secure a kill there. Kush doing his best to run away, but we have the entire team getting a little flanked here. Shark goes down, but that is answered very quickly by Gal's Cutie being taken out as well. Kush getting answered down as well too. Lord T is not at the health he needs to be able to protect this mid tower, but here comes Zia right now trying to get up his stacks right now. Is gonna have to use that battle mirror image to get out of the way there, but these minions are not gonna be enough of pressure on this mid tower as the Valley is gonna go ahead and disengage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a bloodbath. What a fight that was, back and forth, but overall, we're still at basically a standstill. The gold has been marked even. Zia, I think Zia, if Zia would have rotated up maybe a little bit faster, they could have possibly changed the tides of that. Mobazane, even after taking the death, ready to pack a big punch with the Paquito. Let's take a look at his items. He's locked in the Hunter Strike. Looks like he is going to go for the Malefic Roar next. So after that, if he wanted to, he could honestly start building tanky. Maybe pick up the Athena Shield to deal with Yato, or go something like the Antique Cuirass to deal with Zia. Overall, though, I do feel like, even with the death, at this 6.5 minute mark, they need to be careful for him. Yato and Kush even, but mainly Yato and Zia, they're just prime targets to get one shot.
Yeah, I mean, right now T picking up those kills means that Esmeralda is going to be having great potential to be able to kind of like pick off and zone out the rest of the team during these objectives right now. The rotation's starting to come into par. We do see them starting to reset, looking for a tower to take right now as they cut lanes.
Yeah, nice pull on Yato there. And Hoon continuing to harass. That Shadow Stamping is such a pain. I mean, and so that needs to also be a problem. Now, Turtle is up. Ackerman does seem to have a position, but look at Zane in this bush.
Yeah, he's in prime position now. Does come in here right now. Basic does take down a tower, though. We do see the dawning light coming out. Hoon able to pick up that tower. Here comes the Cult Altar. The rest of the Valley is now pressing down, but it does look like Hoon a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to expend that flicker to get away. We do lose one, but they answer with two of their own. Zia gets pulled back and killed now, and Kush trying to escape as Shark is on the chase. Kush has nowhere else to go. He's trying and does get taken out from Basic right now, and it is a 7-5 game as the Valley pulling ahead about 2K.
Yeah, they've now taken the charge. They found that spike. Hold on, though. Ackerman wants to maybe keep on trying this.
Yeah, they're trying to get and press their will onto this red buff, but it does get picked up by Gal's Cutie. Here comes the circling eagle onto T, who might be in a little bit of trouble. We do see that Shadow Stampede able to pull him back, and Basic able to finish the job with that Clint and that damage from him.
You know, Kush has continued to have a little bit of trouble with that retribution. Even in game 2, he finally did secure a turtle in the beginning of this game, but now he's lost it again. And not only has he lost it, Hoon's able to pick it up. And it just seems like all of the Valley are ready for that turtle. It's not just up to the retry. It's like all of them at the same time target lock onto that turtle when it gets low, and somebody normally gets it. It's something they just do such a good job at when it comes to securing that objective. Now, Ackerman sitting on the back foot once again. They do have some late game possibilities this time instead of the last game. They still have Zia and Yato who can pack a punch as we move a bit more into the later game. My question is, can they make it to that phase? Hoon looking for a play.
Yeah, and it's going to have to happen with some of these objectives. I mean, and that's the problem, is that Kush is getting outplayed when it comes to these objectives. Gal's Cutie getting a little bit of a chase now as they are all going to go ahead and press onto this top tower. We're looking for a little bit of a defense from the side of Ackerman. They're going to go ahead and push forward. The team of the Valley is going to go ahead and disengage here. So not able to find the opening that they wanted as Ackerman with a successful defense, though. But it looks like we are going to go ahead, start on this Lord, maybe baiting it a little, playing around. Shark doing his best with Fried Chicken to zone out the rest of Ackerman. They are diving really deep into the back lines. This Lord is going to go over to the side of the Valley. Fried Chicken getting heavy spun, but here comes the Cult Altar. The rest of the Valley charging into this tower. There's nothing to stop them as they get the reset, and down goes Azia with a beautiful flicker play by Hoon on that Faramis into the deep into that inhibitor tower.
This is a problem. The Fermis is just too much, and the Valley knows it. I mean, every time it looks like Ackerman's about to pick someone off, Hoon is there with the Cult Altar. When it looks like Fried Chicken's about to go down, Hoon is there with the Cult Altar. And worst of all, when it looked like Zane's about to go down, Hoon's there with the Cult Altar, and he's able to survive. But wait a second, Chicken will finally go down. But that's where this Paquito has been striving. He's able to just hang out so long and continue to punch, and just do that burst damage in this phase of the game. That's the one thing you don't want. You don't want a Paquito sitting in the middle of all 5 of your members causing havoc like a bull in a tee shot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, we see how Hoon uses it, and one of the differences of what we've seen with other teams is a lot of people react with the Faramis. They react to the damage. They react to as a defensive unit there, but Hoon uses this Cult Altar offensively, uses it so that his team can we do have a large little
big set.
Wild charge in there, is able to take down Hoon, and now they don't have a Cult Altar. They are now trying to get away. Fried Chicken trying to distract the back line as T trying to charge into Basic while he is raining down damage onto them. Here comes the falling star moon. Hoon is back though, and he has a Cult Altar now as well. Just that low death time by Hoon. He's able to come back in, and they're not even able to chase.
Yeah, that is so rough. The moment he comes back, the tides turn, and that just goes to show how important that Fermis is. It just goes to show how that was a big kind of whiff, and I think they just underestimated it because they knew it was going over, or maybe they thought they were going to pick up the Beatrix or something and they were going to get the Fermis, but right there, I mean, Hoon's down, they're able to get the chase, but the moment he comes back up, which is very fast because of the passive, it just, the tide turns immediately.
Yeah, they're not even able to continue on it. And we see all this pressure now going on to the blue here. And Fried Chicken just coming in, trying to enforce his will. Hoon is going to go ahead and use that Shadow Stampede to get away. But there is nothing really stopping this side of the valley from capturing and grabbing all of this farm here, grabbing these buffs as well. We see the walls coming out. Chicken is not phased by this damage. I mean, he's basically out there to just try to tank abilities before we get into these team fights.
Yeah, and this is where I was saying the Uranus, right? Like, the Esmeralda's good and all, but when it comes to just late game, the ability to sit inside of a team, Uranus will end up coming out on top, especially if they're just at an even, let alone at a huge lead. T getting bursted down right there by Basic. This could be a problem for Ackerman.
Yeah, they are trying to bait out this lore, but I don't think they really have something that can really contend with it. But now we see that the Valley is sharpening their swords on the Lord here, taking it down to half health. Here comes the Dawning Light, is taking the rest of them very low. Who goes down first? This might be a little bit of a problem for the Valley. Basic goes down second. Mobazane in a little bit of trouble here as they are trying to get away. Mobazane does take a left. He's trying to get out of there with Shark being able to put on the pressure. Are they going to be able to get this? This is your chance for the retry. Mobazane's still able to get it, and now Ackerman's gonna have to disengage here. T in trouble. He's the last man standing for his team as incoming Hoon ready to put on that Cult Altar. T might be in some trouble. Cult Altar is out. They are chasing down, and T goes down. That is a team wipe in favor of the Valley.
It looked so good for a second for Ackerman, right? Like, they start sweeping, but the main problem is, like, and this is what makes it even more broken. Like, you get Hoon off the map, but because of the passive, he's right back in the fray of things within seconds. It's just unfair at this point. It's just unfair. The moment you think you have a lead, they have another player back on the map within 3 seconds. When the death counter should be, at 45, right? So it just makes it so, I mean, it's almost impossible for them to get a full advantage, right? I mean, you couldn't have played that any better. Ackerman able to bait them into the Lord, even when we were saying, what did they really have, right? Able to make a huge play, almost get a full team wipe, and still the Valley able to come back in that fight.
I would love, I wish we could see what happened. I want to know what's going on with Kush. I don't think he's missing these retries. I think they're suppressing him. They're stunning him. When it comes time, I would love to see what happened there. But man, I mean, it's right now when it comes to objectives, when it comes to the Lords here, the Valley is basically having their way. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter if they get the advantage. A great fight there. Hoon didn't even have his passive because he hadn't even been up that long, so it took him a little bit of time to get back there. Unfortunately, still, Ackerman not able to use that advantage to answer with an objective, and right now they are lining up these waves to come crashing into the core.
Not only that, but taking a look at the builds, we have a lot of damage on the side of the Valley. They know they have the advantage here, so they know that they can build a lot more damagey than Tanky. You also have Fried Chicken, who can just be that wall up front. So Hoon building penetration, the crystal, he's got it all. He's able to burst down with the magic damage. And then you have Zane, who didn't only go for the Malefic Roar, but is now locked in the Bloodlust Axe as well, has the Immortality, so they are just a force to be reckoned with, and that's why T hasn't really been able to zone the way you normally see him. Anytime he goes in alone, he's just getting melted down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem when it comes to that. We're trying to zone out the rest of the team. If he goes out too far, he's going to get eaten by the Valley. If he stays too close to his team, he's going to allow the Valley to kind of come in and challenge these objectives. And we already know right now, Kush is having an issue being able to capitalize on this when it comes into a trade for a trade. It does look like we are putting a little bit of pressure onto this mid lane right now. The rest of the Valley trying to clamor up here. Here comes Kush onto the back line. We do see a Shadow Stampede has been activated, but I think this is more... Oh, we do see a flank on the back line. We see Gal's Cutie waiting in there with this Grok. Here comes that wild charge. They're trying to take out Basic. Goes down first. Here comes the Colt Ultra just a few seconds too late, but are they going to be able to capitalize on it? Ackerman, we do see the circling Eagle latching onto Yato, and they are able to take him down right now. Kush going to follow up there shortly. Hoon in a little bit of trouble here. Here comes a Shadow Stampede. Zia with a lot of damage is going to have to use that Battle Mirror Image to get out of there. Here is an Immortality activated for Gal's Cutie as he's trying to get away. It is not going to be able to. Lord T is next up on the chopping block, trying to defend this push. I'm not sure Zia's going to have enough. Going to use that Battle Mirror Image, but this one might be a wrap. He comes in, gets taken out right away by MOBA Zane. And this one is a wrap. Game 2 going over to the more dominant Valley.
Wow. Wow. Now, the Valley sitting at 2-0. Are they gonna sweep this? We have one heck of a semifinals right now. The Valley is just looking so dominant. Now, my only thing to stand up for the side of Ackerman in these times is they did have some nice picks toward the end of the game. They had some great sets. The problem was, and I know I'm playing a dead record, but I just feel like they messed up in that draft. Once again, giving Hoon that Fermies. Like, those sets that they had, Gal's Cutie with some of those wild charts, Kush with the pins, should have been enough. But with the sustainability that the Valley brought, there was just no answer to it. And it just goes to show that the draft can win games. It doesn't matter how well you play, how well you can make those sets happen. You gotta make sure you win the game from draft to the actual gameplay.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too, especially when it comes to these objectives. We're not seeing Zane get them, and I'm wondering if that is an intentional thing to let. We even saw Hoon get one of those objectives as well, and I'm wondering if that was intentional because Hoon's going to be the one that's charging in with that Shadow Stampede, and if that was a conscious decision on their part to be like, all right, he's going to need the shield more than the rest of us. Let him get it, and if they're actually actively using that with the retribution to make sure it helps secure it. In the first game, we saw that Shark was able to get it. I doubt that one was on purpose, but it worked out too because Diggy's very squishy in the early game. That shield helped out a lot with his survivability. But here, man, it's such a rough a go of it because, like you said, we're like a broken record. They had advantages, but even those were kind of snuffed out right from the get-go. They don't, the Valley it's like the Valley doesn't make mistakes. They make intentional retreats to recoup and then come back at you in a different way that still results in them getting the objective, which is just uncanny right now, especially for the side of Ackerman, who was just having an issue kind of getting on the ground, maybe a problem with the early game of it.
Yeah, definitely something. I want to point out White Chicken there, and really the whole team. The fact that, like, the thing about the Valley right now, they're one of those teams where you can't just pin down one person, and you can't, like, everybody has a star moment. Everybody makes great plays. Not only that, but they don't really make mistakes. You could almost say that the few mistakes they did make there, they know that they can push that limit because of the Fermi. So that's why they're being so aggressive. And, like, there just wasn't any slip-ups to where when I was looking at Ackerman, T drinks, gets a little out of position in the mid-game there, gets caught off, thinking that he can just jump in and chase people down. A few of them making those few small mistakes and getting picked off, to whereas the Valley never really had that problem. Let's get back to the caster's desk now as we prepare for Game 3. What's on everybody's mind? Will this be it? Will this be a clean sweep, or can Ackerman try to bring this back and make it to go a bit farther? Possibly, I'm going to put it out there, possibly get a reverse sweep?
It's going to be rough, and I feel like the drafts are going to have to be very different. This is, like I said, this is one of those games where I get it's interesting because I don't know what's going on in their heads, what they were thinking or what they wanted. Because like I've said before this, Ackerman does a great job with drafting. They've got a great game sense. They've got great game intelligence. So they know what their options are. It just feels like they're getting countered here and they don't have an answer for it. For Ramos, I just don't know what the plan was, because obviously it was not successful. We've seen how dominant Hoon can be with that Faramis. Not a roam Faramis, but a mage Faramis, using that because it enables them to be more aggressive, because they're still going to have Shark, who's going to be able to pick up something else for support, which means that Hoon can come in with the damage. Hoon can help his team, can be the one that kind of carries the flag of the Valley into battle, especially with that cult altar. And that means that when things get out of, and that's the thing, here's the thing, is when you take out Hoon, like we saw there, it's not the opening you think, because you still have Shark there, which is their actual support, which is the actual person that kind of like sounds the alarm if they need to disengage. And that's the thing, is I don't think there was any time when the Valley actually felt like there was a problem. I feel like a lot of these fights, they have it in their minds. All right, this is what we're trying to do. If we lose a person, then we're going to go this way. But there's still always the objective base. And there didn't really look like there was a time there where the Valley was not going, something was happening that was out of their game plan. And it's something from the side of Ackerman. We're going to need to see a change, especially when it comes to this early game and in the draft. These last two drafts, I feel like there have been some blaring mistakes. I just don't I don't know what the plan is, but it feels like the Valley's always 2 steps ahead of them.
Yeah, and you said it. Ackerman normally really thrive in the draft, but these past 2 games, there's been like one big mistake, right? Like first time, I think they didn't pick up the Beatrix up front. Second time, now you let the Faramis over and you get nothing huge in return, I would say. Like they picked up the Akai, and what was it? The Esmeralda up front. So I just think, like, it looks like they have these big plans in the draft, and then they keep on. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if the Valley, BTK, all that stuff is just the kryptonite, just the thing that catches them off their game. The pressure's on. They're not used to losing this hard, right? So now we're just starting to have some hiccups, and we had it in game 1. We had them in game 2, and hopefully they can take a breath, take a second, and pull themselves together, because this could be it. If they lose this game, they're going to the bottom bracket.
Yeah, and we're gonna see we see the Faramis right off the bat, just getting taken out there in the ban phase. But this is, are we just gonna continue to ban things from the last game? Like, we're gonna add Diggy to this list now as well.
Maybe
we have an answer? It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just the Faramis pick. It was the Faramis pick while banning the Valentina. So you took out an answer, a potential answer to the Faramis. And then gave it to the enemy team. So it's just interesting to see. Like I said, I just assumed there was a plan that they had that got countered midway through the draft by the Valley. Something that they wanted to pick, and then they're like, oh crap. They knew, and it kind of crushed their entire plan. We see kind of the same bans here. The Franco getting taken out there. Respect to Gal's Cutie for his ability to kind of charge in there, kind of upset the balance in the early game there. And then Valentina getting taken out for the side of Ackerman.
Most definitely. Now, with that, so I think this time they are covering their bases. I think they need to kind of work with the same type of draft they were like at least the same composition. I won't say draft because they had some glaring mistakes, but the same kind of composition they had in that past game, right? Some nice CC, some nice possibilities to make game-changing plays, but don't give over anything too big. The Valley taking out the taking out the Beatrix and taking some time on that ban, and it just goes to show the Valley is still in their A game, still calming it up, still talking, still patience. They know they have a lead right now. They're comfortable. They're able to just play it safe, do what they need to, and kind of ban however they want, have fun with this, right? So they ban out the Beatrix. They obviously have a strategy on how they want to approach into it. They don't want to give the Beatrix over in the second pick. Ackerman now in the gun with this ban as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was expecting. I'm like, there's no way that they're going to leave Diggy open again. So now we're going to see, are we going to be answering with a Wan maybe on the side of the Valley, or do they have something else in mind that they're going to be picking up here? Because, I mean, banning that Beatrix is pretty interesting because it's usually something that you usually want to get, especially with the first pick. Why not leave it for Ackerman to ban out?
Well, I think they want to pick up something other, like pick up the Akai, right? Like lock Zane in with a jungler that he really wants, and by doing that, you give up a strong marksman, right? You give up something strong. So that's the strategy, right? We want to make sure our jungler is secured, and if you're going to do that, if you're not going to pry the Bia, then you have to ban it if you're first pick, right? And that's the thing that like a lot of other teams lack to see sometimes, and it's what I like watching the Valley with that first pick draft. They're prepared for it. They have a plan as they approach it. They're not just banning anything and everything, right? So Ackerman now with the response, 2 picks ready to go. They bring in the Julian. Kush has locked it in, so it could be a jungle Julian. That's your favorite one, right, Private?
Yeah, and interestingly enough, too, what I like about the jungle Akai is the fact that it offsets, it makes you worry, especially with how they played it, it makes you worry about picking a Balmond into it, makes you worry about picking a Karina into, a Karina into it. It takes out some really active and aggressive early game junglers for Kush, because we saw in the first game, Mobazane surgical when it comes to those objectives. He will stop a Belmont from being able to get those objectives, to be able to try to secure them with the retry and the lethal counter there.
Hold on. Hold on. That would have been crazy. I don't think I've seen Zane play the YSS on in a tournament in a long time now. Yato picks up the Eve, as you said, and Shark bringing in the Grok this time. So once again, the Valley stacked with CC. Zane with the heavy spin, Shark with the wild charge, Basic bringing in the Claude, which has really been something he's favorited, right? He's almost liked the Claude more than the Beatrix a lot. We don't even really see Basic on the Beatrix a lot. Zia, this is the pick, right? This is something that I think the past year when he does play gold lane, when he started really honing into the gold lane, the Wan was kind of his star player, right? Kind of his star hero. So we're bringing it in game 3. It's all or nothing at this point. Zia falling into a comfort pick.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There's no real early game for the side of Ackerman here right now. We do see them answering to try to take out the Phoveus, the obvious counter to the Wan, but I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop them from kind of charging into their jungle. Very well rounded by the Valley here right now. We do see them take out that Paquito, and then here's the problem: is that they don't have the early game right now. Is because that's what the Valley is going to be focusing on. They take out the Paquito, like we've talked about before. As soon as he gets his level 4, he becomes a problem. The amount of damage he's able to come in with is just immense. And I have a feeling we're going to be looking at another early game hero taking off the board for Ackerman as well. So we're going to see if they're going to be able to round this out, because right now Yato is going to have an issue every single time he wants to use that real world manipulation.
Yeah, he's got a big target on his forehead that says, hit me with your heavy spin, then get me with your wild charge. It's not going to be easy for him at all here. He needs to be very careful about his position. And on top of that, with Kush picking up a more, non-tank jungler, he doesn't have a whole lot of PLT now. Bringing in the Uranus, a solid pick, but lacking in CC. And this is kind of what we saw in game 1. They bring in some solid picks, but there's one they're lacking the set potential. So it's all going to come down to Gals. Maybe we see the Cho. Maybe we see something to add to some pressure. You said a lack of early game, but if Gals can bring in something kind of aggressive here, like the Cho, which, I mean, again, you don't have any group CC, but paired up with that Julian, there could be some possible early game ganks, something like that, heavy rotation, and possible pressure onto the off lanes at least.
Yeah, we do see them kind of dancing over this Farja and Masha picks. Farja, like I said before, we haven't seen it too often just because of the, and they're going to go for something a little bit more mobile. And I just was saying, like, the Farja and the Eve really depend on your team being able to protect those picks as we move into, like, the mid and late game or into objective fights. And they do, Hoon's going to go ahead and get onto this Kagura. And, man, Hoon is great on a lot of heroes like Gujin and stuff like that, but Kagura is just ridiculous because of how fast he is, how he can land those umbrellas, how he can get those yin-yang overturns, and it's going to be a problem, another problem for Yato to be standing still. They're going to really need to be able to catch the Valley on their back foot if they want to be able to kind of be successful with this composition.
I think the Atlas pick could have been a bit better than that Lolita. Now, my problem with the Lolita here is this, right? Like, it's not a quick ult. It's not a quick ult at all. Like, so now you have Yato and Gals that have to really be careful about their positioning here, because Gals, if he's not coming from a bush, if he's sighted at all, Shark and Zane are going to be on him trying to stop that Numenon blast. It is not going to be easy to land that. It takes time, and the only way he's getting it is with the flicker, which I'm not counting out on Gals. Like, the potential's there once again for the sets, for that play, and it does work well with the Yve, but I'm just worried about the answers that the Valley has right now.
Well, I see the thinking here, especially when it comes to the cohesion of this composition. You've got the Numenon blast, you've got the real world manipulation, you've got Kush with those enhanced chains that will be able to pop you up. So it's going to be, they have the potential for the wombo combo, for the slow. So you're not just dealing with one. You're not going to be able to charge in at Yato if you have a Numenon blast hidden in the bush. But we're going to be moving on to game 3. Will the Valley be able to enforce their will, or will Ackerman be able to survive this and get a sweep of their own?
Shark already putting on pressure, goes back to that bush like, I'm just going to sit here for a second. Going to force out that Retry, which is going to give Zane a little bit of advantage. And we can see Zane on the mini-map right now. But wait, Shark taking a bit of damage, going to be able to get away. But look at Zane here, already coming in, knowing he's down a Retry. I'm going to steal your bread buff.
Yeah, and not just that, it's just that they're chasing Shark, so he knows. And this is just the cohesion, the synergy of this team. Shark going down. So even if Shark would have went down there, it doesn't matter, because he did his job. He distracted the team long enough, which gave Zane the opening to go ahead and take the red buff and now take this other jungle emblem thing here too. But they are putting on some damage now. Zane might be in a little bit of trouble here. But this, I mean, look at them all able to come in here with the CC, with the slow. Hoon coming in with an umbrella to go ahead and stop that push onto Zane.
And then even the wall there at the end, the whole team, the peel ability, I think it's really just been the thing that has been destroying Ackerman in all of these games. It's been the story that has got them from Hoon to Shark, just constantly being a nuisance every time. And they're not even running like close and huddled together. They're all kind of holding their lanes or keeping a distance, but they're just close enough, and they make the move just fast enough to be there for their teammates when someone's running away.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a part of their plan. Sharkin actually in a little bit of trouble here. Is down to a third of health. It does get back to the safety of his tower.
Yeah, and at this point, Turtle will be up. Zane opting, he was walking towards that blue buff, and he's like, never mind, I might come back. He's holding down in the mid lane. Are we going to see him try to take this peel?
Yeah, he does have, he's at level 5, so he does have that heavy spin. We do see a wall coming out, kind of upsetting it right now. We do see down comes the real world manipulation. Zane still able to get the Lord, or to get the Turtle, and down, and here comes a heavy spin. Gal's cutie a little bit of trouble, does get taken out by MOBA Zane, and he is in trouble trying to get to the freedom through this tower. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so.
T, you better get that. T, you better get that.
He has red in his eyes. He's able to pick up the kill onto Zane. Kush gets answered back, though, and pays for that with his life.
This is bad. This is bad. Zia was at level 3 until like a second ago. Mobazane at level 5. The fact that they lost that orange buff in the early game has just set Kush back, and he's had no ability to try to counter jungle, no ability to go into Zane's jungle at all, because Shark is always there. So we're already at a big deficit at only 3 minutes in. 1300 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're going up against the Valley, when you're going up against someone that's been steamrolling you, someone that's been dominating, it is a big difference, especially for Julian, who needs those items, needs to be able to output a lot of damage in these early stages.
Yeah, we do see that Mobazane trying to come in on that buff. He is not able to get it, so it does speak well for Kush, but he doesn't have the red buff up there. I think that was already taken. So, I mean, still in a bad way, but they are still in this game.
Yeah, still in the game for sure. Gold lead isn't too big. There's not a whole lot of deaths on the table. Both teams, I mean all 3 games, both teams haven't been too aggressive, playing it safe. Kush now trying to make up for his lost time, trying to make up for his lost jungle. We've seen him just kind of huddle down. I need a jungle. I need to get my money up, right? I need to do something. Gals Cutie now rotating up to the top.
Yeah, we do see here comes a Numenon Blast. They are not going to be able to catch basic here, but they're going to put a decent amount of damage. Definitely getting all of this gold off of the top. Might even be able to get this tower. So, I mean, okay, so they're not going to be able to get the tower, but I mean, it's an immediate amount of pressure. Here comes the wall. Zane is on this turtle. There's not going to be enough to actually stop him there.
Yeah. Oh, Blazing Duet.
Yeah. The Blazing Duet from Basic comes in there, and he's going to use that Battle Mirror image to go ahead and get back to safety. Galsky in a little bit of trouble here. Is going to come in. Down comes the real world manipulation. Is able to take down Hoon. This might be the opening they're looking for. And as I say that, Shark comes in with a wild charge to take out Gals Cutie. Mobazane coming around to the back line here, looking for a flank on here. Still impressing on his will. He is not afraid of Kush. Coming in. Here's a heavy spin. Kush in trouble. Does go down and receives an enhanced chain for his efforts. He's going to go ahead and just start on this red buff with Zia and Gals Cutie in tow. Not sure if they're going to be able to help there. He is able to get that down. Shark goes in, capturing up the top tower there as well.
Now, Yato does get something there, takes out Basic, but overall, it is a huge win for the Valley. The Valley takes a tower, they take down a few members, and they continue to stampede in this gold lead. Though they are not just dominating and trying to roll over in kills, they're consistently getting their gold up. They're playing it moment by moment, biding time, just slowly winning and strangling down onto Ackerman.
Yeah, and this is just, I mean, they're playing crisp games. Their rotations are crisp. We can see here Claude already has Demon Hunter Sword starting to work on that golden staff now. And once he gets that golden staff, we're going to have something else to worry about with these Blazing Duets. They're going to be hitting like a truck, especially if they are able to reach into the back line, to reach Yato, to reach Zia.
Yeah, and with the DHS locked in for Basic, now coming into the golden staff, as you said, right? So, I mean, he's pretty far ahead. I mean, I guess he's not too bad. 1-1 decided not to go for boots. I don't think you need him. He's got the DHS as well. He's actually gets his first 2 items in a little bit sooner. So can Zia be a possible game changer? Not if you're getting picked off like that. Basic still stuck up in the top lane, dealing with T right now, but the turtle is up now.
Yeah, Turtle is up. You can see Fried Chicken, Super Shark doing what they do best, zoning out the rest of the team as this Turtle is down to about a third health. Rest of the team is forced to kind of back off. Ackerman not having anything really to say for that next Turtle hit.
Yeah, they just have no answer right now. Kush is way too far behind. He can't make any plays himself. Yato's been the only one to pick up any real kills, any real plays overall. Now Kush getting bullied once again at his orange buff.
Yeah, Kush in a little bit of trouble here. Does get blocked by the wall. Here comes the real world manipulation to try to help enforce this retreat. T in a little bit of trouble here right now. Isn't going to be able to get out of it. Is he going to be able to put on the damage? We see him healing up. Here comes the blazing duet, as we were talking about before. He gets stunned into it. Is he going to be able to use that battle mirror image? He is. He gets out of harm's way there, and here comes an umbrella. Another battle mirror image is basic. Almost get jumped on there by Lord T.
Man, oh my God.
Back line and picks up the kill on Zia.
Relentless. Relentless is what the Valley is right now. You just have this combination, and it is hard to deal with. Every time Ackerman thinks the fight's over, someone else comes in at a different angle. They're so good. I mean, Basic coming in with the Blazing Duet, even though he gets caught off, he puts enough pressure, and right when Ackerman thinks that they can take a breath, Fried Chicken comes in, rotates up, and picks off Zia. Zia now sitting at 0 and 2. At this point, definitely falling behind.
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking. Another wild charge comes in there, is able to take down Yato quite quickly. The real world manipulation is not enough to stop them, and we see another Numenon Blast coming down here. Is going to be enough to save this tower. Heavy spin coming in from the back line from Mobazane here. They are trying to get Kush. He has the pop-up with those enhanced chains, trying to dodge umbrellas and giant pandas. It is not enough. Down goes Kush, and there is unstoppable right now for the side of the Valley.
Yeah, we took a slight lead for Ackerman, now falling into a 7,000 gold lead for the, or 6,000 gold lead. Wait a second, gals!
Yeah, Gals could be in a little bit of trouble here. He's trying to get diving deep into the tower. Is Mobazane kind of taunting them here? Here comes the Numenon Blast. We do stun stain, but in
Crossbow
comes
tang?
the blazing duet. Yato is not going to get killed. I thought he was on the verge of dying there. Here comes Zia trying to put on the damage, but Shark able to use that wild charge to create enough distance to get away from those weakness stacks.
You know, just when we thought that Ackerman may be able to make a comeback here, Kush just gets zoned out from the very beginning. And this is the problem with that, you know, assassin jungler, especially going up against an Akai, going up against Shark on this Grok. Now, Lord is being brought down, though.
Yeah, it's down to about 10%. Here comes the Numenon Blast. Kush able to pick up, I want to say, his first objective of the game. Shark in a little bit of trouble here. Has given Zia the crossbow of Tang, but he decides not to use it yet. Definitely wanting to save that ult. But right now we have all the lanes crashing in to Ackerman's side.
All right, so Ackerman bides a bit of time there, right? They take the Lord. They take it quickly. They know they have a chance. Zane's a little distracted, not able to come. Nobody's able to contest it. So at this point, Ackerman prolonging the game. The thing is we're only 10.5 minutes in. It feels like we're at the late game already, the way that the Valley is playing, but we still have a long road until Zia can carry, right? Until Zia can really output a huge amount of damage with the crossbow of Tang, until Kush is even relevant again. So they have some time to bide. They did the right play getting that Lord the way they did, but it's definitely not over yet, and it's still a long uphill climb.
Yeah, they've been able to take down the Lord before he's able to get that tier 2 top tower there. We just see the enhanced chains going on to Mobazane. They're biding their time right now. Shark is looking for an opportunity to hit this wild charge, does not find it, and the rest of Ackerman able to reset on the map.
Yeah, they are going to be able to reset at that, like you said. So towers, they've taken 1 from the side of the Valley. They need to, and at this point, do you even try to split push? Because it's dangerous, right? Like, you can't even send T out there. Fried Chicken, just a wall. And the pickability with Hoon, with the yin-yang overturn, and Shark with the wild charge and Zane with the heavy spin. It's just a lot to deal with for any man alone. Ackerman forced to stay together at all times. And speaking of men alone, T getting a little risky, but they know that they can't do anything.
Yeah, right now they are having issues. You could see every single advantage that the Valley can take, they are doing, because they already have those tier 2s, tier 1s, and tier 2 towers down. They are basically making Ackerman's jungle their own. They're just running around there trying to get the flanks. There's such a presence in the enemy's jungle, and they're doing that because of the towers that they have down. And like I said, every little advantage that they can get, they are taking to the max, whether it's a turtle objective, getting the shield from there, whether it's a lord, or whether it's these towers. They're using it to the max.
Most definitely. Now it seems like we're having a couple spike issues. We're going to pause the game, let these phones reset, whatever they need to do. We have been running for a while now. Things may be getting a little hot in those devices, right? So give them a second now. So the question, right? Ackerman, can they come back here? Can they bide enough time? Kush is, like I mentioned before, Kush is almost irrelevant at this point. One thing, he still does have the enhanced change. There is still some potential for a nice knock-up. One good thing about the Julian as well is you can knock up the heavy spin while it's happening, right? So maybe they can bait Zane into something, but then they still have to watch out for Hoon, who's sitting at 2, 1, and 5. You still have to watch out for Fried Chicken, who, I mean, is just practically unkillable at this point. And without any, I guess I was gonna say without any CC, but they do have it. But like you'd have to use all of your CC on Fried Chicken just to kill him, and then you still have to worry about the rest of the valley, right?
Well, and that's the problem here is Fried Chicken should not be an option for killing. That you need to be able to maybe get basic down. You need to be able to get Hoon down, because the moment you start focusing on Fried Chicken, you've lost. That you're going to waste too much to be able to take him down. And what are you going to get out of that? Nothing. You need to be able to find an angle that gets the squishier heroes, that gets Hoon, that gets basic. They've shown that they're able to find these openings. They just need time. Unfortunately, the side of the valley does not give them time to do that. We saw right from the beginning of the game, Hoon doesn't even really leave his lane. He leaves just enough of his lane to throw an umbrella out to cover Zane escaping. Same thing with Shark. You were talking about it before, where it seems like it's the fluidity in the motion of these guys moving around the map. It's almost like it was part of a dance, a recital that they already knew what was going to happen, because they only go like 3 steps out. I'll throw my umbrella out, go back to my mid lane, clear that up, and it's just the amount of vision that they have, the amount of reaction that they have to answer to Ackerman has been overwhelming since the beginning of this game.
And not only that, but they're just constantly making plays and making their own plays from the very beginning. Shark, I mean, a perfect example is when Shark went in, and they know it's like, all right, here's the strategy for this game. Shark's going to go in. Zane's like, all right, I'm going to go try to steal the orange buff, because we know that he just expended his retribution. So just constantly making plays around the map, and Ackerman not able to make plays of their own. Ackerman just constantly responding.
Yeah, and the problem here is we're getting to a point where Ackerman, if you want to win, you're going to need to find openings that you create. You can't keep answering with a defensive Numenon Blast, with a defensive real world manipulation. It has to be something that you've created the opening for, that you're going to be getting them down for. And that's what the problem is here. Like I said, they're keeping up way too much pressure onto the side of Ackerman for them to even have any room to breathe.
Most definitely, but we are jumping back into the game now. So can Ackerman find that second to breathe? Can Ackerman try to bide enough time to catch their breath and run this marathon that is ahead of them? Because it is not going to be easy. The valley just looks like there's no kinks in the armor, and every time Ackerman feels like they found one, someone else is there to turn the tides.
Yeah, we're moving into the 12-minute mark here right now. As we said before, the Valley kind of roaming around Ackerman's jungle here. So Ackerman needs to be very aware of where everybody is on the map.
Yeah, and speaking of on the map, they are losing another tower on the map. It looked like they were going to maybe try to rotate to bottom. I don't know if they knew they lost their blue buff, so they went to check it. And with that, side of the valley take another tower. Lord is up here. Ackerman down 6,000 gold. Gauss Cutie maybe getting cut off here.
Yeah, he doesn't have his dash. He uses dash to engage. Here comes the real world manipulation. But like I said, a defensive real world manipulation, including I just saw a Numenon blast. Zane is not taken out by that crossbow of Tang, and now they don't have 3 ults while this this Luminous Lord is up.
Look at, hold on, T and Chicken are just like, you guys got this. We're gonna macro this bottom lane, hang out down here, take a little vacation. You guys got this, Lord. But T does have a little bit of a closer protocol. Maybe be able to get into the back lane and harass Hoon, and give Ackerman the opportunity here. Shark still in that bot lane cutting.
Yeah, we do see them trying to bait out this Lord. Here comes the Blazing Duet deep into the back line. It's going to use that Battle Mirror image to get back again. Here comes the crossbow of Tang. Hoon able to take down Gal's Cutie. Zia in trouble, gets taken out in the back by Fried Chicken. Yato being chased out of dodge right now as Mobazane able to take down this Luminous Lord. And T still continuing to try to put on pressure, but there's nothing he can do right now through these tanky gentlemen known as Shark and who was that? Fried Chicken as well in the back line. They have minions. Here comes an umbrella for good measure and a wall. Knock, knock. Here comes the Lord crashing into the core. Is this gonna be it for Ackerman? Blazing Duet comes in there. Lord T trying to do his best, but we have a sweep here. The Valley is successful, 3-0 against Ackerman.
GG's, well played. The Valley completely dominates once again in another game in the upper bracket. Ackerman not able to catch a single win. Ackerman will be dropping down to the bottom bracket. Before we go any farther, let's break down some of these players because, man, what a show. And I'm not surprised to see it. I'm not surprised to see it at all. Hoon with the MVP. Those umbrellas were a menace. I mean, every time, and he just knows the distance. He knows how to kite so well with it and find his target and lock on.
Yeah, and it comes with those fast hand players, those great reflexes, and that ability to micro as well as he does. We saw it right from the beginning of the game. Mobazane went in to take the red buff as he was coming out, met some resistance in the form of 3 Ackerman players. Hoon didn't charge in, didn't go in all the way. He just kind of sidestepped through a few spots, threw out his umbrella, slowed down the engagement onto Zane, and then went back to his lane. And that's just the skill that you get from players like this. They don't have to expend all of this energy, but it's not just Hoon, it's the rest of the team too, kind of supporting those escapes, supporting those engagements, supporting those invades. But Hoon here, man, it's just this was going to be the problem from the get-go when you when you have a Kagura going into some stationary characters like this Eve, like Gal's Cutie when he's setting up for that Numenon blast as well.
Yeah, just too many easy targets, I feel like, for Hoon, for Shark, for a lot of the team, and even Fried Chicken towards the end of that game. Towards that last Lord fight, zones in onto Zia and gets the pick off. Now, looking at the side of Ackerman here, the major downfall, right, was the beginning of that game when Kush just falls behind. You got to look at him. Only 6,200 gold. He's close to Gals, right? So he just had a problem from start to finish there. And it's not exactly his problem. It's that the Valley forced them in to a terrible position from the very beginning. I mean, there was like a two level difference in the first minute. So that immediately, Ackerman starting from the back end, and we're just never able to come back. Zia as well. He has the crossbow of Tang, but it's just not enough when you're going. I mean, he locked onto Mobazane in the end there, wasn't able to get the kill. He didn't have enough damage output there. He wasn't able to take out that bulky front line. And like, you can't really lock on to basic. He's too fast. He's got too much movement on the Clint. And then Hoon as well has the dash and the getaway capabilities. So the Wan just didn't really have the opportunity to shine there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it feels like they took advantage of Ackerman not really being fully prepared for some of these invades. I mean, maybe if you had set up Gal's Cutie a little bit further ahead, you could see Shark coming in the opening seconds to try to force some type of harassment. At that point, then you have Yato and Gal's Cutie come in to support Kush so he doesn't have to use that retribution, so they can surprise Shark, so they can get him down quickly. What ended up happening there is you waste your retribution on Shark. Then you chase Shark all the way into his own jungle, which opened up Mobazane. And it's just all of these different high IQ plays, because once you think that you have their plan down, you don't realize that this is only a distraction for something else that they're trying to do, which is Mobazane trying to get his farm up and then using that to escape. And then if he gets in trouble, the rest of the team is able to kind of close in around it. Just the communication and the synergy of these guys. And this is why this team is so strong. This is why people have been wanting to see these guys team up together for so long, because all of these guys know this game, are so intelligent when it comes to the plays that it's almost unstoppable right now.
Yeah, definitely a monster of a team, someone that we are all going to be following as we move past this league and then even into the qualifiers. But that will be it tonight. Taking a look at the leaderboard, we will see Ackerman fall down into the semifinals of the lower bracket. Tomorrow night, we're going to see Deuce Knights go up against the Simpsons, and the winner of that will face Ackerman, and that will decide on who faces the Valley on Friday. It's going to be a big best of 7, so definitely excited to see if anyone can take down this Goliath. Now, onto the caster's desk. Wonderful games tonight. Great turnout. Thank you everyone for watching. Definitely excited to see how the Valley continues in their stride. And not only that, excited to see how Ackerman responds to this loss. Hopefully they stay together. Hopefully they continue to look at this game, look at this game, learn from it, see where they messed up, study hard, and maybe come back for a rematch in the finals, Private.
Yeah, and I definitely, especially right now, them moving on to the lower bracket, the lower bracket better be prepared. Ackerman, I know this game didn't look great for the Ackerman, but they are still one of the strongest teams in NA. It's just, once you get to the tippy top, when you get outpicked, when you get out drafted, when you're getting out rotated, it's hard not to look bad. But that doesn't mean that Ackerman is a bad team in any way, shape, or form. I think we're about to find that out in the lower bracket. So this might not be the only meeting that we have between Ackerman and the Valley, but just such exciting games this weekend so far. But it's not over, because we still have 2 more series tomorrow.
Yeah, we definitely have some big games tomorrow, then the finals on Friday. Super excited about it. If you guys are new here, it looks like there's a lot of new faces. Hit that like button, show some support. Hit the share button if you really care. And make sure you leave a comment to show us who you think the best team is. I know there's a lot of Valley fans out there, a lot of Hoon fans. They've been popping off in the chat. It's glad to welcome you here to the NASL. But tonight, we are out. Any last words from you, Private?
No, it's just exciting matches. This is something that we've been wanting to see in NA, and as you guys know, NA is just starting to pick up more and more as these months pass on, and it's just going to get more exciting from here. And I, for one, can't wait to see what else is in store for us.
So until tomorrow, we'll see you guys in the draft.
Take care. Good night.